Hi, this is Stephen Carson. Welcome to Radical Liberation. I'm coming at you from St. Louis, Missouri, in these United States. We are doing our second annual contest, but I think we'll probably keep this tradition going because it's great fun. Last year it was currency designs, coins, and paper money designs. And we had great fun with it because I just thought it'd be, kind of a bit of a lark, And then we had Oliver, Semiagog, and Ferro come on and take it really seriously and really like they were at work, considering serious contributions. So which made it actually way more fun and entertaining. So those who have submitted entries, warning, I brought in some ringers here, and they are going to judge. That's why I've asked them to join us. Okay, so let's bring on everybody. Okay, we have Ryan Turnipseed. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Very good. We have Mad Mercenary.
Hello there.
All right, excellent. We have Ferro. Hello.
Greetings.
And John D.
Hello.
Yeah, by the way, I was thinking, Mr. D, about, Ferro, you have a channel, John D doesn't, but it got me thinking of Hollywood Squares. Like, what does John D do? I just see him show up as a panelist, on these shows, with your trademark lines.
I don't want to be Paul Lind. Don't let me be Paul Lind, if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember as a child, I had no context. These people had all been well known for some reason, right? They had been actors and entertainers in the past, and that's why they were on the show. But I had no context. To me, literally, it was just like the guy on Hollywood Squares, Okay, so let's see. What do we need to cover? Oh, well, first, real quick, just thanks everyone for a great 2021. I know that it's been sort of miserable from a certain point of view, but I was thinking about it. In fact, Dave Cullen on Millennial was expressing something similar. I was thinking about it, and if you abstract away from sort of what is going on out there with, lockdowns and so forth, my 2021 has been quite nice. I mean, in my personal life and then in my online world, I have, I feel like my network of friends and interesting people grows, and so I'm quite thankful as we come to the close of the year and come to Christmas. Part of the evidence of that is that I can just bug Ferro and John D, and they jump on at a really inconvenient hour of the night and do this with me. So I'm just really thankful to everyone. Inconvenient hour of the night, and then we have Mad Mercenary joining us at an inconvenient hour in the morning. So thanks to everyone for doing that. Only Ryan and I are on the same time zone at this point.
The best time zone.
Yeah, I haven't heard time zone wars. You'd think everybody's competitive about everything else. You'd think we do that. Okay, so we're going to get right to it then. Thanks for all the support. Through your support. That was the other thing I wanted to say. Sorry. I've mentioned it, but as I come to the close of the year and express some gratitude, started the show because I have an interest in political economy, and I used to write articles for LouRockwell.com, and I thought instead of writing articles, I'd try this YouTube thing. I never expected that it would be like I'd get money out of it or something. That literally was not even a thought in my head as I started doing this. Well, this year, through the generosity of supporters, both through Subscribestar, Super Chats, and crypto contributions, I was able to buy a computer. Now, that may not seem like a big deal, but I buy expensive computers. So it was amazing that I was able to get a personal computer, which I can run the show on and also do other things on for myself. courtesy of the show. So, I'm not like making a living off of this, but compared to expecting like zero, being able to buy an expensive new computer this year was very, very nice. So thanks to the supporters, and lights coming soon, so I stop having all this weird stuff in the background. Okay, so let's go to, let me make sure I'm showing the right thing. We're going to go right to the flag competition. Mad Merc, do you want to say anything about for the audience, what was the challenge to our folks entering into the flag competition? Briefly.
Sure. So the flag competition was mainly about basically design a flag on a fictional or real city-state. And we asked that people came up with a little bit of a backstory for the flag, what each of the symbols and colors represent on the flag, just so we have context as to what to judge it on. That's about it. It was very open-ended. It allowed for a lot of creativity, and I think from what we're going to see, a lot of people went wild with it and came up with some pretty unique designs. So I'm happy just to get straight into it.
Guys, can I just talk through maybe some of the things I'm going to be looking for in the judging tonight, if that's okay?
Yeah, please.
Yes. So if anyone who was listening to kind of last year's competition, I think there are a couple of themes that came up time and time again, and I'm hoping to see some big improvements on some of the currencies that we saw. But just some of the things I'll be looking for during my judgment. I think the first thing is craftsmanship and technique. I think we saw some very cheeky copy pasting, some kind of low grade stealing and recoloring of other things, and I look very much down upon that. I want to see the handcrafted nature, whether that is through Photoshop skills or through hand drawing. I think in my mind, a flag has to be harmonic. It has to work together as a single unique thing, and so we're looking for harmonies of colors, good spacing inside the flag itself. It needs to be recognizable from afar, so that the whole point of a flag is you can see who that person is or where they're from a distance. And then finally, I think it has to have a bit of character, and I think that's what's great is everyone's written their little backstories, and I want to see the character of your cities in the flag.
So when you say no cut and paste, you're saying you don't want to see Andy Warhol's style techniques, right?
Well, don't trigger D. Warhol added a lot of depth to that. But look, I'm not afraid of using something like Photoshop to pick things out and put it down. I think what I don't want to see is just lazy copying or low effort, low energy. I want to see some big energy. But it'd be great to hear what D's looking for, because he will have the more critical eye of the two of us.
Do you want to state your judge's position, D, or just jump into it?
Yeah, I think we should probably just jump into it. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I did study heraldry long ago, not in any extensive way, and of course most of it's gone because I'm a very aged person. But so I will be thinking about that. I mean, there is a whole tradition of heraldry, and there are kind of a set kind of canon of designs and symbols and such. I mean, remember, the flag is meant to it's not meant to just be decorative. In fact, it's meant to convey information, and they do serve very specific purposes, and certainly did in history. So I will be thinking about that a little bit, although I certainly wouldn't expect people to be for a lighthearted competition to be putting that in. But I will assume that every entry is serious, and I will probably judge it on that basis. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw, John D, but inspired by your comment when I brought this up on Unpopular Opinions, and you agreed to do this, I did indeed title the show Vexillology. So thank you for that.
Oh, very good. Yes, Vexillology is the study of flags. It's actually a fairly new term. I didn't think that
Oh,
term
okay.
was used until
Right.
probably the mid 20th century.
Heraldry would
yeah.
be the more the older term for essentially the same sort of thing, right?
Sort of. I mean, heraldry has to do with more than just flags, but flags are
Mm.
certainly a part of heraldry. But yeah,
Got it.
vexillology I think is is a kind of mid 20th century term from vexillum, which I believe is Latin for uh goodness, I can't remember what it is. Um I think it was a type of flag, actually. I think it was a type of Roman
Mm.
flag.
Yeah, it refers to Roman, something
And
Roman.
anything's
Yeah.
ology, that's ology is a Greek suffix from logia, study. Yeah. So.
Right. Yeah, well, not too bad to use a term from the mid 20th century, since UNID are, you could say, more or less from the mid 20th century, right? So,
Thank you.
oh yeah, I forgot you're 25. Okay, let's get to it. All right, we've got a lot to cover, and I'm hoping somebody's going to keep notes on which ones we sort of vote into the next round. Okay, so we start with Biogundam. I will highlight the flag in a moment, but I need to read the text first. And then I'll blow up the flag so people can see it on little phones and stuff. Here is my flag design and entry. I made it in MS Paint, and this flag for the city-state of Academy City from a certain magical index. It's a city of science and schools. The purple represents the wisdom to encourage your citizens to pursue knowledge and come up with their own conclusions. The red represents passion, the passion to maintain intellectual freedom, and the dragon represents strength and power, that we, the city-state, have the might to defend our way of life if need be. And the writing is self-explanatory. It says on the flag, through knowledge and wisdom, my chains shall be broken. All right. Quick round of comments. Oh, how about Ferro? How about you be our sort of one that tends to start?
Sure,
Okay.
no worries at all.
Go ahead.
So kind of hearing the description is all about the knowledge and wisdom, and using that to kind of break the chains. Now, what I liked was obviously the kind of the symbology of the colors. Dee mentioned around heraldry, and again, certain colors would be would have meaning, especially in certain circumstances. So, for example, in Thailand, the color of yellow is for kingship, for example, and there's loads of kind of yellow wearers, etc. So I think that's great. Now, is purple the color of knowledge? I'm not 100% sure. Again, in my mind, I think back to the kind of Roman emperors or the senators who would have a single stripe of Tyrolean purple on their gowns. So I think it's certainly powerful. And the kind of classic purple red color scheme is very striking. It's a good harmonic color scheme. I mean, just in terms of criticism, I think two things stand out for me, and I think I think he's done very well in terms of doing this in MS Paint. That's very brave of him. But the depth of the purple means that you lose the legs of the dragon, and compare that to the kind of highly vibrant red at the top. The head really springs out at you, and so I think you lose some of the effect of the dragon itself. Secondly, the text at the bottom, again, think about it. That flag is being held up over your city. It's big and majestic. You're not going to be able to read that. The text is way too small. I have seen some flags with some text on it. Dee always likes to show. Is it you, Dee? Likes to show that the Civil War cuckold flag is the classic one. If you've seen that before.
Come out, you cuckold! Yeah.
Right,
and they have that in quite large font, so it's readable from the battlefield. Again, when you've got that text, it's all about being able to read it. And again, just I really can't talk because I am so poor with my grammar. But the shall is capitalized, and that does trigger me a little bit, I'm afraid. So,
right.
I think a good starting effort. I like the color scheme. We got that harmony, but I think we need to have worked a little bit on the bringing that dragon out a little bit.
Okay, Mr. D.
Well, the text has to go. I mean, even if it were formatted in a nice way, which is, it's not going to serve the purpose you like. I mean, so Ferro mentioned that flag from the English Civil War, which says "Come out, you cuckold." That wasn't really a flag to be used in the sense that we're talking about. That was literally a troll. The person
Yeah,
who
right,
I believe was the Earl of Essex, if I'm not mistaken. So the text, you have to be very careful. I mean, there can be text on a flag, but it's generally very short. It's in the even less than a motto, and it will generally serve a kind of symbolic purpose rather than conveying information. So I would avoid the text if person could.
Sorry, just to jump in, D. One flag I was thinking of was Brazil, actually, because they do have a bit of text on it, and it's very small. So that is an interesting example.
That text, I believe, is their motto, and I again, the text is there to kind of acknowledge the motto of the country rather than to kind of convey information like this. I mean, I think you could render this in a way that would be shorter, more concise, and probably more integrated into the design. But as it is, I certainly wouldn't put text on the bottom of the flag like that. And as you said, Ferro, it's just not going to be legible. I like, you were right about the purple. I mean, in heraldry, you call the colors on flag tinctures, and purple is one of the tinctures. It's called purpure in heraldry, and it does come from ancient tradition of dyeing royal robes with a dye called Tyrian purple, which was extraordinarily expensive because it was very difficult to produce. It required killing a huge number of whelks of sea snails and extracting a substance from them, and each one only has a little bit, so you had to kill literally thousands of these to get enough dye to dye one robe. So purple was the color reserved for royalty. So I do like the use of it, and I would agree with Ferro. It needs to be punched up a bit because you do really lose the bottom half of the dragon. The red square, that would be called a canton. So if the flag is generally separated into 4 of these, when you say canton, it usually means on the upper left corner or upper corner nearest the hoist, which is where the flag attaches to a pole. And that's going to. I like the fact that can be used to highlight the head of the dragon, and I think if you kind of fiddle around with it to get the dragon's head in the center of that red hoist would be a nice effect. But yeah, I think lightening the purple a bit to kind of make the body come out would be a good show.
So I have a question for both of you. I thought the lines between, there's a line down the middle and then a line under the, I'm sorry, I already forgot the term. What do you call the upper left again?
The canton. Yeah.
The canton. So this is where the stars are on the U.S. flag, for example, right?
Yeah.
The canton area. So there's a line under the canton, and then there's just a line down the center from top to bottom. That seems a little odd to me for a flag. You wouldn't usually just have sort of lines between the different parts of the flag, would you?
No, I mean that almost seems like a sort of remnant of guidelines when he was making it, or she was making it. So I would certainly lose those. They're very good for you to point that out.
Okay, so comments from Ryan or Mad Merc before we move on.
I have a very short comment. With my ruined zoomer mind, I can't help but see purple and purple and black together as a missing texture indicator, and it's kind of, I can't really take it seriously now, because in most programs, if you have a missing texture, it just shows up as a black and purple checkered pattern, and it might just be my eyes or my screen or something, but like I really am having a hard time making out the dragon over the purple, so wouldn't really necessarily rate it that high. And then the text, as we've mentioned before, isn't too terribly, it's a bit hard to read, small and miscapitalized.
Turnip, sorry for sounding like a boomer. What do you mean by this purple and black thing?
Missing textures?
Missing textures.
It's just like every every like if you like make a game or something like that, every time
Right.
I've tried to do that, it's just
Right.
all purple
Okay.
and black checkers.
I see. Okay, in computer games when it's missing the
Yes.
the kind of skins for the characters. Okay, sorry
Yeah.
for boomer moment. Apologies.
Oh, just a quick comment. A thing that annoys me in my world, which is that programmers are the worst for these colors that don't contrast. They will put black text on a dark blue background, or like a medium to dark blue background, and I have no idea how they reckon anyone's going to read this sort of thing. Anyway, so bringing up the contrast issue triggered that little annoyance of mine. My fellow programmers, like, why? Okay, any other comments, Mad Merc, on this one before we go on?
I think most of it's been covered off. That vertical line in the center just irritates me. It's not straight,
Yeah.
and I don't think the second half of it is not necessary. It would be much better if the purple was just one piece instead. It's just awkwardly separated down the middle there into one larger piece on the right and a smaller piece in the bottom left.
Right.
Yeah, it just irritates me.
I just want to say I do like the dragon design. It's nice. I like dragons as a general thing, but aesthetically, I like this dragon design. Okay, well, let's keep going. All right, now here's a puzzle, Mad Merc. You're sort of our referee on competition rules. We have a quite interesting entry, but it's by a deleted user. So I guess they got booted, or my inclination is to go ahead and discuss it. And if somebody like this ends up winning, then we'll just need to make sure we have some runners up if we can't contact the person. What do you think, sir?
I think that's a good course of action.
Okay, then let's read this real quick. The free city of, I do not know how to read this, Parias, 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 I'm going to say, a modern free city in Central America. Okay, in Central America, named after the name for North America on the Waldseemüller map. Butchering the languages here. Okay, argent, tincture of silver, and ore, tincture of gold, represent a commitment to a stable currency and the ethics of reciprocity. Red, white, and blue rings represent the city's commitment to preserving and protecting its citizens' right to life, liberty, and property. Okay, I now have the flag up. Ferro, lead us off, sir.
So again, I really like the description of this one, and I think it's clear that the designer was really thinking deeply about the meaning of the colors. But again, I'm not. Well, again, this idea of argent and ore representing a commitment to currency is like a clever witticism on the names. So obviously the kind of yellow color is known as ore, and argent is like this white color basically. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's obviously a lot of heraldry is derived from French sources, isn't it? And so we're using the kind of French color names, aren't we?
Sort of. I mean, these are actually, yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, argent. But
Argentum.
Yeah,
is
I would
Latin,
say that a
isn't it?
lot of it's from Latin, but that would filter through French. So you're right
Yes,
about
yeah.
that a lot of these rules were kind of codified and used with French. Although it may not necessarily be because it was from France, but it was because French was the lingua franca, of the day.
Yes.
French was what you spoke, diplomatically. So yeah, and argent, just quickly, argent is in heraldry. It's silver, but it generally is white.
Represented white. It's represented white. Yeah. So I really like the color symbology there. It's a really a little bit of witticism there, which is good. In terms of the kind of central colors, you've got red, white, and blue rings. I mean, to me, that blue looks like a purple, but again, it's another classic purple red combo, which is some really nice contrasting colors. I mean, does that match to life, liberty, and prosperity? I'm not sure. When I see this flag, it reminds me a little bit of the Vatican flag, which I believe has again the white and yellow in the background. But obviously, this kind of the central rings gives it a more futuristic feel. But it's quite plain at the same time. I think it would be very visible, very legible. I think my only one complaint is again maybe the harmony between the background colors and the foreground. So again, does the yellow and the red work? I'm not so sure. You've almost got sort of two sets of colors that I don't think have that kind of complete harmony that I'm looking for. But I like the color symbology of it. I think there's a lot of depth to that.
I do like the way Ferro just, we solved the contrasting problem we had in the last flag, at least, right? Because the white part of the ring is down in the yellow, so it looks okay. And then the darker colors are primarily against white. And so at least everything stands out, right? You don't have anything murky looking in this flag, I think. You're just saying, so I don't think you're talking about a contrast problem from that point of view. You're just talking about, do these colors go well together, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the blue's okay, but you're not sure about that red and yellow.
Yeah, so basically in color theory, all colors are on like a big circles, so to speak, and there are specific unions of colors that are naturally good looking to people. So you have the idea of complementary colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel, or contrasting colors that sit opposite each other, and then you have more complicated formulations like triads and squares. And again, Dia's really the color master here, so I shouldn't say anything more in his presence, but just know that there is a whole, like, we think about colors as this very kind of artistic thing, but it's a very almost scientific, mathematic thing behind it.
Absolutely.
In terms of the kind of relations of what works.
Right, color cubes and color wheels and all this sort of thing. Real quick, we do seem to have identified the author of this, thanks to the chat here. He is in the chat, and he on YouTube he goes by Martian Pundit, and he's going to identify himself in the Discord. So we do not have a lost flag here. Okay, Mr. D, comments.
Very, very good comments from everyone so far. I would add, there's, again, we're modern people with cursed modern eyes, and so we are going to make associations with the elements of these flags, and so unfortunately there is a very prominent symbol which is used for recycling, which has 3 arrows in a circle, that is what I'm extremely led towards when I see this. But I'm also thinking of like the circle that you see when your computer or your phone is doing something. Again, you get that little spinning circle, or the power button, or even the cursed ring of death from the old Xbox. So you do have to be careful about these associations. I mean, I like the idea. I'm of course immediately enamored of this person, because they did use heraldic terms, tincture and such, and they are aware of these things. But I would suggest, finding a way to kind of integrate this idea or realize this idea in a way that maybe doesn't evoke that sort of thing so much. But I do like it because, of course, it's it is highly abstracted and uses sort of color and shape placement symbolically in the way that heraldry does. But I'm afraid at the moment it's really just pulling up those contemporary associations. So
very funny,
very
funny comment.
Work on that.
Very funny comment from the chat in response to your comment, John D. Johnson says, "Recycle the elites."
Recycling of the elite, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. Any other comments, sir?
Nope.
Okay, so then Ryan.
Yeah, just practically, if it's a bright sunny day outside, and say that you're someone like me or the vast amounts of other people that have potentially substandard eyesight, that white in the ring there is not going to be very pronounced. And depending on the shade of yellow that actually gets used for the flag, also going to be pretty hard to see the difference. And then, as Ferro mentioned in his, the blue that is used there, it could be purple, it could be who knows what it actually is. I'm having trouble seeing it myself. I see it more as purple. That's also going to be pretty difficult to say that you're actually using it. So in terms of like actual visualization of this, the point of the flag, I think that it wouldn't necessarily be as great. However, I do like that there was some really good thought put into it, especially with the heraldic terms.
I'm just going to keep on throwing out stuff from the chat, flipping it in. Parker Rose says, going to be difficult to keep that one clean on the battlefield. Okay, come on. I mean, we can't have every flag be primarily blood red, so it works on the battlefield, you know?
Right, no. I just meant like if it's in like the sunlight and like I'm at a distance. So like the actual purpose of the flag.
Right.
I just with my eyes at least, I know that I would have difficulty, differentiating the white from the yellow, and then the white inside of the yellow, which would, kind of just make the flag a little bit murky, if you will.
Also, it might be mistaken for the white flag as well. Just imagine you're hoisting the flag.
Yes. Yeah.
Even worse.
The white part pops up. You've surrendered, although maybe that's part of the plan. It's the full sense of security before you immediately.
No.
That's
okay.
And to be fair, I mean, you wouldn't send someone like Turnip into battle with your poor eyesight, you know.
No, you would not.
For what are they called? 4F or something? Was that when you
Yes.
couldn't be a soldier? Yeah. Mad Merc, comments on this
4F,
one before we move on.
I think the color of the red and the blue don't work. I've been trying to give it a little bit of thought while Ferro was speaking about what colors would maybe have worked and represented the same thing. But I'm coming up with a blank here. I think generally the design is more of a modern design with it being very simplistic and sleek and not too many frills to it. But I don't know. It's just I don't think the red and the blue work. It's not ugly, but it doesn't work. It's not pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
So
It might work if there was more.
Ryan, someone says, why do we have a colorblind person on the panel?
I'm not colorblind. I can see color fine. Last I checked, it's just lighting or whatever. For whatever reason, it's just a bit weird.
It looks better to me. This is the one problem with what we're doing here, because again, when you design in a in a system like Photoshop, etc., or Illustrator, the LED screen will be like properly acclimatized for the eye, while I'm just off a normal boring laptop, which may display it in a different way, and you may see it differently too. So,
yeah, color reproduction is a nightmare on digital devices. So
I know a little bit of.
Just assume that none of us are seeing the same color when we're looking at this.
Right. No, I know a little bit about that just from Macs and graphic design and stuff like that. And it's quite the trick to do color matching. Okay, let's move on.
Joan, shall we put this one on the short list for the next round or not? That's a big question.
Ferro, John D. In or out?
Too soon. I think maybe. I'm going to say maybe.
Okay, John D.
I'm going to leave myself out of such mundane categorization.
Okay, so Lambda, flag of the city-state of Atlantis. This is our own Lambda, by the way, not some other Lambda. The long-hidden city rises from the sea in the year 2084. The imagery of the flag evokes the silhouette of the king's trident against the sun. In Atlantean society, the spikes of the trident represent the individual citizens, strong and independent. The shaft represents the commitment to property rights, which allow them to cooperate and be stronger together. There's our flag, Mr. Ferro.
Well, firstly, I got to say, Lambda, I do not appreciate your sarcastic tone and this very serious competition here. That's the nonsense about the shaft of property rights. He knows what he's doing there. The trickster Lambda there. Very rude, sir. That being said, the flag itself, I would say, is rather magnificent, in my opinion. Again, in terms of the colours, when you think about Atlantis, the city plunged into the sea and now risen, we see the blues and the sign in the background representing both the sea and the sky. I mentioned about the idea of the complementary colours that sit together. Well, obviously, blue and cyan sit next to each other, and the blue and white is again another classic color combo. Think of the Finnish flag. In terms of the kind of different components, we've got this kind of white circle in the background, which is relatively unique. Obviously springs to mind is the Japanese flag or the Korean flag, which both have circles at the center. But again, he's almost inverted it, because with both of those flags, they have the kind of white on the outside and then the kind of deeper color on the inside. He's juxtaposed that. And then the emblem itself, like in terms of emblems, many are not that many are actually used on flags. And again, I have to say, this is my one major criticism. There is a flag which has a trident on it already. I don't know if anyone can name it.
No.
Is it? It's a Caribbean one, right?
Yes.
Is it Antigua or Barbados?
I thought it's Barbados.
Okay, well, I don't know it off the top of my head. I just thought it was one
you're
of those
right.
two.
I'm pulling it up, and indeed, we've got a trident with sorry, someone has pants with the design on it, and it's sort of naughty looking. Okay, anyway, it's a black trident on yellow, sort of a gold yellow with blue stripes on the side. That's
so
Barbados.
It's not quite the same, but hate to say it, Lambda, it's a little bit derivative there. But in terms of the color appeal, I love the spacing here. It's done perfectly, and I really like the evocation of the idea of the trident being raised up to the sun. I thought that was actually really, really lovely, and then he ruined it with the rest of his sarcastic words. One other small detail again, this is absolutely pathetic. If you look at the bottom of the trident, there is a little bit of cyan there.
There
and
is.
Is that
That
on
again, that just
purpose?
annoys
I was
me.
trying to figure out if that was meant to be there or
No.
just an error.
No.
No.
Laziness
Disgusting.
and lack of attention to detail. Lack of attention to detail.
Oh dear.
Amanda.
Oh dear.
You stole the thing I was going to point out, Ferro. It's absolutely disgusting that someone doesn't pay attention to detail. Such an obvious mistake too. I don't know. Should we disqualify this?
Yeah, we're having
flag
called for disqualification in the chat. Okay, D, go ahead, sir.
Well, I of course completely approve of the shaft of property rights plunging into the sky. And of course, keep in mind in heraldry, they you use terms such as the impalement of arms and such. So there is a kind of justification to this sort of thing, and I like the linking of the trident to to these traditions of the impalement of arms and the achievements and all that. The one thing that bothers me is I don't like the tip of the centered tang of the trident going outside of the circle. I think that the trident should be entirely within that circle, which would just mean making the circle slightly larger. I think it kind of loses a bit of its visual impact that way. But I'm fairly keen on it. I think it's quite a strong visual collection of images, and does convey the things in a sense that he's talking about. So I'm disposed to this again with some minor qualms, and yes, that little bit of cyan at the bottom is just shameful. You really need to up your game.
Lambda says this panel is so incredible they look at every pixel.
It's quality
Okay.
you get here. Quality.
Other comments. Ryan.
Let's see. I quite like it. I think it's clean. In fairness, I quite like the color scheme. It has potential to fall into the same thing I brought up with the last flag, but I don't think nearly as much because I think white on white and yellow is a bit worse than was it cyan on white. I think that this is a bit better. I quite like the symbolism. So other than the small pixel at the bottom there, yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah, and then Madmer.
Again, I kind of left with nothing to say. I think everything's been kind of said.
It's okay if our guest
I
judges
think-
are the stars of the show, Madmer. Any
That's
other
true.
comments?
No. I like it. I think that what may have worked a little bit better was to have the trident a tad bit smaller and fit entirely within the white circle. I don't know. Maybe that would have worked a little bit better, but overall, I think this design is quite good, and I think it's in the running.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
so
that
it's
color. I mean, I would slightly. It is a little bit too much on the kind of computer palette cyan color, and I would maybe suggest a slightly different light blue. There is a tincture in heraldry that's sometimes used called blue celeste, which is the blue of the sky. It's intended to be a bit lighter than azure, so which azure is the standard blue of heraldry. So you might want to think about maybe altering it a little bit so it isn't quite that jarring 8-bit cyan.
so the blue celeste would be, I guess, a little less greenish and more just light blue.
Yeah, it's more. Yes, it would be more towards the magenta red end of the spectrum. I mean, just think about like if you look up cerulean blue, sort of color like that.
Okay, well, excellent entry. Let's keep going then. Oops, what am I doing? Sorry, I was just tweeting because I realized I never did my usual like going live thing and getting mixed up in my windows. Okay, on to the next entry. Excellent. Okay. All right. Not too long into the distant future, Austin embraced a form of neo-Confederate homo-libertarianism that causes Austin to have to distance itself from the Second Republic of Texas. The gay patriots of Austin then organized the Free City of Austin, Texas, where the citizens are libertine and lovers of General Lee. After the Battle of Dripping Springs, the original flag of the Free City of Austin was lost to time. A new flag was created in its place, called the Stars and Gay Bars Mach 2. The 3 stars represent the 3 sex symbols of Austin culture: Bo, Luke, and Daisy Duke. Now, unfortunately, he uploaded a very small image, so even when I highlight it, it really doesn't change the size at all. So, Ferro, how seriously are we going to take this one?
Well, why don't we let Mad Mert go first? Because you're giving him the chance to.
Thank you. I think, well, generally everything is in proportion. I think the color scheme, the red, white, and blue, generally works well. I think it obviously is harking back to the battle flag of Virginia, of Northern Virginia. What is it, Turnip?
Any American flag uses about the same shade of red, white, and blue. This one's just
Oh,
washed out.
But that general stripe color, it looks like the bottom left-hand corner of the Virginian battle flag. What's the proper name for it?
Well, okay, so the Virginian battle flag, that's the typical Confederate flag that you think of, but there's also a version of that in the official Confederate flag, and in like a few of their flags leading up to that one, and then multiple state flags as well. So it's not just the Virginian one.
Yeah, I understand, but I think that it's kind of almost reminiscent of that, like a portion of that, like the bottom left-hand corner or the top right-hand corner of that sort of flag with the stars going through the blue stripe. It reminds me of that. Generally, I think I get the idea of what the stars are representing with the different sexual icons. Yeah, I honestly, to be quite frank, the flag works well. What it represents is horrible, but the flag generally works well in my opinion. I think the colors are nice. It's appealing to the eye. It harkens back to a legacy, a history of the southern states. It's all in proportion. Yeah, I think generally this actually does work well, surprisingly enough.
Did
Okay.
any of you ever
Turner?
watch The Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah, of course, as a
I've
child.
seen.
Okay, yeah.
Is that the reference for the sex symbols of Austin culture?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I instantly, for some reason, I instantly assumed that the Luke they were referring to was, of course, our good friend Lambda, but
No.
maybe not.
Bo, Luke, and Daisy Duke. So they're all three.
They're siblings
Right.
in the Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah.
Oh, I
So,
see. Oh, I see.
I'm going to be very brutal here. I'm going to say that it feels like what we did was we took like one section of that standard Confederate Southern flag, cropped out the bottom left part, and then kind of ran it through a small filter. However, I'm going to assume in good faith that we didn't do that, and be a bit nicer. I quite like it. I understand that it's a joke, and I can appreciate what they have done with the standard red, turning it into a more pink color, washing out the blue. So overall, probably not as high effort, but it is funny nonetheless.
Yes, I personally, of course, am always biased towards people with a sense of humor, so that is certainly allowed in our contest. Ferro, go ahead, sir.
I think as a spoof flags go, it's entertaining, and I think Ryan noticed that it wasn't really like a mistake with the color. It was an intentional camping up of the flag,
Right.
which did amuse me. But I feel like if you're doing a spoof flag, you need to go all in. We could have made this even camper. We could have made this the gayer flag, and in some ways, I'm disappointing this. It sounds like the gay pioneers of this wonderful city, put a lot of effort into their new city. I'm not sure that's really reflected in this at all. This is a very heterosexual flag, I would say, actually. So, in that, yeah.
Okay, D, any
Well,
comments?
there are only 3 colors on it. It's not inclusive enough. We need to have a variety of colors on a flag, or so I've been told.
Okay, Mr. D, any comments on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I won't comment on the whole backstory, but obviously it's a bit of fun, which is sort of amusing. I do think it needs to be if you're going to go all out with that description and such, you want to go all out with the flag, and I don't know how you would do that. I think there is I don't know if the person who made it would be aware of this, but there's another little funny joke in here. When you have a line that goes diagonally over a flag, that's called bend, which of course is hilarious because of the association with bender and bent and all of that. So
Right.
having a flag for this community that has that's formed by a bend is quite funny. So if you didn't intend that, you should pretend that you did,
Yes.
because it adds a little bit more. But yeah, I mean that you got I'm alarmed and triggered by the kind of placing of the stars and the proportions and the way that the bend extends beyond there. It's just not when you do a very simple flag, you have to be very, very careful and very deliberate about all the kind of proportions and arrangements and such. So, but I do appreciate the lighthearted nature of it. So.
One other little pun that I think we missed out on was the name of it, which was of course the Stars and Gay Bars Map 2. So,
yeah, which is quite good.
I quite like the gay bars part. That was very good.
Right. Okay, well, let's move on. Thank you.
10 points for creativity.
Yes. No,
Didn't last year we had like a spoof? Like we had like a comedy one, didn't we? A comedy currency win. So we should keep that in mind maybe and have our favorite novelty flag.
Right. Yes. I absolutely love it when people have fun with it. I mean, it's just fun, right? Okay, here we go. What? Okay, so this one. Spoilers for the Ethics of Anarcho-Capitalism by oh, okay. He's going to reveal things that are in a book or something. This is a flag for the city of Freeport from Christopher A. Bohr's book, The Ethics of Anarcho-Capitalism. Freeport is a privately owned, free city made up of movable, detachable sections floating in the ocean. It is the first city of this kind. The flag consists of a blue background with a white dove, carrying a black torch with a gold flame in its feet and a golden olive branch in its beak. The blue symbolizes the ocean, the white peace, and the black and gold anarcho-capitalism. Besides symbolizing peace, the dove as a bird is also a symbol for the city's ability to move anywhere. Furthermore, it is carrying the torch of liberty, lighting the way for other places to become free of government. And in case you're looking on a phone, it should be noted that this is hand drawn and it looks like hand colored with I don't know what the media would be, Ferro, but I mean it could be colored
a
pencil.
pencil for the
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be color pencil and then maybe a pen for the outlines, or
Yeah.
maybe even a pen and
No,
ink.
I think it's all colored
Pencil, is it?
pencil. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, first one where it's literally hand drawn. So I think in light of Ferro's criteria he gave, it gets a little bit of a point just for making this effort here. So go ahead, Ferro, comments.
Oh no,
Or-
you're right, Ferro. That looks like ink, pen and ink. Yeah.
Yeah.
From the outline.
Do you want to take this one, because I think you've been last the last couple of times. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, I being a strong advocate of the mark of the hand, and then the manually created artwork. I give points for that because in this day and age, I'm surprised younger people even know what a pencil is. They're surprised that there is something called the physical world. So I do like that. It's slightly crude, I would say. But that, I mean, it's as a mock-up, it's certainly fine. So another heraldic term that I haven't mentioned is a charge. And so charge is basically any kind of animal or object or whatever that floats on the field. And it's perfectly legitimate to have a kind of a large charge in the center of your flag like this. I think that it certainly requires refinement of the design, although there does seem to be quite a lot of attention to the design of the bird and the torch, to the arrangement of it. And I do like how it sort of works and fills up space. That there is some selection there, but I do think that it just needs sort of refinement to kind of make it work. And certainly the colors as well. I'm imagining you could also make them pop quite significantly. They're quite washed out here. So I'll just assume that this is this is just a very rough mock-up. When you're working with your pencils as well, you've got to be cognizant about what surface your paper is on, and be cognizant of the kind of rhythm and flow of the strokes, because here we get these kind of weird blocky effects in the background. So either treat this as just a rough sketch, or really work on refining it as an idea. But I think there's a germ of a nice flag design here.
Okay.
And just jumping off the back of that, I think in terms of the symbology, reading about it, this kind of city of Freeport, it's floating on the sea, it's detachable, etc. And so when we talk about the dove carrying back a golden olive branch, you immediately brought back to Noah, who after 40 days and 40 nights sent out the dove, and it returned with the olive branch, showing that things were growing again, and it was time to get out of the boat. And that's why previously, the dove has been invoked as the symbol of peace, because the flood, the killing of the evil, the kind of evil-hearted humans had finished. So we've got this kind of powerful symbol, but then obviously it's juxtaposed with the torch. Now again, the torch is interesting because it's often used in both classical and the Enlightenment, who are kind of pulling it from a neoclassical perspective. So when you think of the torch, I think of something like the Furies, those furious spirits that would hunt down murderers, or you've got the kind of light of the Enlightenment, and again, lots of these kind of beautiful female figures in the 18th and 19th century holding the torch, and
like the Statue of Liberty.
Yes, exactly like the Statue of Liberty. Now, I do wonder whether that's a little bit of a juxtaposition with the ideas of anarcho-capitalism. I don't know if that's necessarily a match with the liberal ideology of the torch. So there could be a little bit of a clash there, but I think it's clever using the dove to invoke the idea of water. Now, let me just talk about the actual work itself. Obviously, like Dee said, it's I'd say it's done in a very abstract style, and by that we mean we're not trying to represent the bird exactly as is. We're trying to get an idea and a silhouette of the bird. Now, when you're talking about a flag, I think that's essential. You cannot have a fully rendered bird on a flag. It would be very hard to see. So in some ways, you have to simplify and refine down your bird. Now, where I think this has gone wrong slightly is in a couple of different places. Firstly, you've got to think about the positioning of the body, and there's a bit of an uncanny valley. If you look at the dove, your brain is telling you that something's wrong with it, and for me, it's actually the feet. So if you see how he's positioned it, if you look from top to bottom here, you got one wing here, one wing here. That's totally fine anatomically. I mean, I'd say the tail would be a little bit higher up. But then he's twisted the feet round, and birds don't go like that. You've almost got the bird in one axis and then the feet in the other. And I think that's what for me kind of, again, you got this uncanny valley feeling about it. Also, I think with the wings, you could have done a bit more work. If you think about how wings are created, there are kind of like three major areas, the kind of large feathers across here, some medium ones, and then you've almost got this kind of peak at the top, the coverts. But we've got this kind of flat area to the wing, and I think that's what gives it a bit of crudeness to it. The branch itself, this is meant to be a golden, how is it described? Sorry.
Golden olive branch.
Golden olive branch. But again, in my mind, this doesn't look like a branch at all. This looks like an ivy or a weed or something like that. It needs to really feel like a branch, like a stick, with some really identifiable leaves, and again, maybe even an olive to kind of show that. If you would have shown me this, I wouldn't have been able to know that it's an olive. And then the last thing, I think on the torch is a great place to explore some additional symbology on the handle, but also the flame itself. You could have had the kind of flames licking out. Think about the Statue of Liberty. I think the flames on the actual torch are really beautiful, and there's lots of imagination in there. While we end up with this almost kind of ice cream cone style feeling, or it almost looks like a torch or something like that. So again, I think symbology, it's great, but I think a bit more direction on the actual work itself would have been good.
I just want to jump in very quickly.
Go ahead.
I see people in the chat and such. Almost with and Ferro mentioned this. It's a good point with heraldry and making flags. You almost never revert to what the general person would consider realism. I mean, it's perfectly fine to kind of Ferro says abstract. I would say more kind of to iconographize the things.
I was just thinking that.
If you look at any, if you look at any flag, you will see rampant lions and en passant. You will see animals doing things that they don't do, and you will see things represented in ways that they certainly don't look. So I don't think going for realism. In fact, I would think it's actually kind of a negative in the most part of flags. I've seen flags that sort of modern type flags that kind of go for realism. I think it looks dreadful. So don't be afraid of again depicting things in this way. I have no problem with the idea that doves don't look like that. Doves don't carry things. Well, doves don't. But that's not what we're talking about here. So don't be afraid of straying from quote reality.
Sorry, just to riff off that quickly, I know that the other guys want to speak. Could we bring up the flag of Kazakhstan a second, because that's a great example of a of a flag with a bird used on. I love the Kazakhstan flag. It's one of my favorites. It's got a real simplicity of color. It pulls in some of the kind of ethnographic background, and again, it's got this very beautiful, again, iconic. Again, D is 100% correct. I should have said iconic rather than abstract. Bird.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if I can do this really quick. It's complicated with my setup here. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. I'll just paste it in at the bottom, and then, oh wow, how many flags do we have to go through? Okay, there we go. Now we have the Kazakhstan flag. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a bird underneath the sun, right?
Yes, it's not coming up for me, but people can just Google it. It's
Yeah, no, they can. Audience can see it. You just can't.
oh, okay.
So go ahead. Assume they're looking at it.
Yeah. But can you see how that the bird has been sort of twisted around the sun there? Birds do not fly like that. They sort of fly like that, but again, it's all about kind of adapting the space and again creating harmony of design by twisting the rules. That's an artist is not meant to capture reality exactly like it is. Otherwise, we would just be cameras. You're always trying to twist reality and bend the rules a little bit to create something that feels like it's natural, but fits a space in a better way, or again creates that harmony. Sorry, that was an annoying aside. Please, Turnip and Madmerk, continue.
I have just a really quick thing that I had on. So the whole reason that I'm in music is because I cannot do visual art. I can't draw for anything. I cannot really take photos too terribly well. So I went into music, so I can really appreciate someone hand drawing this flag. I really love the imagery of a dove carrying a golden olive branch. That I would love to see that fleshed out. The only gripe that I would have about this is like the right side of the flag is a little darker than the left side, like they colored over the right side more than the rest of it. So that was my only gripe with it, really.
Yeah, I hate to say, but that's just laziness. And you start off with the right-hand side, and then he's gotten tighter and tighter as he's gone across. Again, especially when you're using color pencils, it's all about creating that uniformity because it really stands out. Just as a little tip.
Don't make fun of me, please, but there's a book on aesthetics that I think is marvelous. It's called Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. And yes, it's about comics, but it's basically about everything. And one of the things he really taught me was the spectrum of representation from a, photorealistic representation, you could say, on one end, all the way at the other end to something like, alphabets or something. And in between, you get hieroglyphics and so on and so forth. So across the spectrum, you can have just a smiley, the classic smiley face, right? Circle with a smile and two dots for eyes. That's iconifying the human face, right? And there's all places you can go on the spectrum. And I think what I'm hearing that in flag design, you're going to tend to be not towards the super realist end. You're going to be somewhere in the middle where you're iconifying anything you represent from the natural world, right? Suns or animals or things like that. Anyway, little tip: read Understanding Comics. It'll blow your mind. It's actually really good. Okay, child labor to produce this flag. I thought that was fun. Okay, Madmerk, anything before we move on? Yeah.
I was going to make the one suggestion. After this flag, we've got everyone's standards for judgment. I think that we can just start rattling off like quick judgments without needing to elaborate very much more. I think that we've got like a good foundation from each of the people here.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, since you pasted them all, do you have a sense of how many we have to go through?
We have a lot.
We have a lot.
Oh boy.
So,
okay.
Our two judges here have done a great job pointing out details that can be applied to other flags. I think that we can just start rattling off judgments after this one, after Merc gives his judgment.
Oh yeah. Anything you want to say about the dove flag, Madmerk?
Nothing to add. I think everything's been said. Let's crack
Okay,
on.
we better start rocking then. All right, Get Corp says hi. Jumped in here from
Oh,
Matrix. Da, da, da. Okay, Get
sorry.
Corp. What?
The stream is buffering. People are going F in the chat.
Oh, I don't know why. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, right. Get Corp is the creator. Flag of the Free City of St. Christopher, colloquially known as Christophtown or Christophertown, one of the earlier floating cities that appeared in the late 21st century Atlantic. Founded by a group of entrepreneurs of religious background due to harsh regulations, laws, and pressures mounting in what was known at the time as Western countries, and dedicated to St. Christopher, Christian patron of travelers. White represents peace and the underlying faith in our Lord. Yellow represents prosperity and commerce, blue prevention, to upholding justice and striking the unjust, to a warning that the final judgment awaits us all in the afterlife. It is worthy of mention what the ability to interpret it was the point itself, representing freedom and difference of opinion, yet all unified in one. City's motto is written in Latin on the sword, Pax impunitatis, translated as peace with impunity, a challenge of sorts directed towards the land nations and those who would wish to impose their will on the city. I am also seeing buffering problems. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so let me bring this flag up. Quick comments. Sword, scales, pax impunitatis.
I'll quickly give my 1 minute. I won't say anything more than that. I think colours, they're unique. Not like other flags, but they still work. Maybe a little bit like the Ukrainian flag is what was brought to mind. The actual symbol itself is quite interesting because you've got the blind justice who normally stands with the sword of justice in one side and the scales in her other hand. They've combined that together, and again, that works really well for me. Again, I think the issue with this is the font, and if it wasn't there, I think this would be definitely through to the next level. But I think it sadly takes it a little away from the overall look.
Okay, D, we're going into lightning round mode here.
Yeah, I would say I don't know if it's a problem, but certainly the thing I noticed is that if you hung two balances on the on a sword in that way, they would never balance. They would always be in balance. You know, they would never actually work as a balance at all. They wouldn't tip one way or the other. I mean, unless of course you're using the entire sword as the fulcrum of the balance, and in that sense, it's a bit odd. So, I mean, I like the kind of mixing of symbols like that, but it does leave me a bit muddled as to you know what's really being represented, because it almost seems a little bit like a joke. And again, I will reiterate my hatred of including text is very difficult to work into visual designs like this. Very, very difficult. And for me, that doesn't work at all in this. I would find another way to include the text if you must include it. But I think this would be a much stronger design with no text at all. Keep the motto as a motto separate from the flag. You know, and lose the text. It just doesn't work on the sword in that way. But again, it's a very strong image, and I think it'd be made stronger by just making it extraordinarily graphic without the distracting text.
Show not tell, as so often, right? Okay, well, Ryan Madmerk, I'm going to focus on our guest judges so that we can keep rolling. If you're dying to
Sounds
say
good.
something, jump in. But I'm going to just keep rolling. Okay, free love, free way. Welcome to new ANCAP, where free exchange and a complete absence of government and state reign. It's two hands with the yellow and gold. Two shaking hands with yellow and gold. Ferro?
Again, the colours instantly remind me of like the "Don't Step on Me" flag. So again, you've got the kind of libertarian black and gold, which is good. I mean, I imagine this guy is just like almost like light boxed this drawing. So he's got like a background image that he's sort of drawing over the top of. But again, if that's done by freehand, then that's a nice little bit of work. And I would say that deserves some bonus points for that. But I imagine that it's been copied. But again, can you see how he's abstracted the hands quite well again? Just like the knuckles are lines and stuff like that. I think that's done very, very well. So actually, I quite like it. I'd say maybe you need to have the lines a little bit thicker. Again, sort of lean back, zoom out. I think some of the details going to get lost at distance.
Mm-hmm. D?
Yeah, I mean, aren't yellow and black the kind of ANCAP colors?
Yeah, you'll
anyway,
notice
but
those
yes,
those are the colors of our show.
Of your show, yes.
Yeah.
And does that derive from the Gadsden flag, which is the "Don't Tread on Me"? Is that where
I don't know.
Anyway, yellow and black, of course, also are classically in nature are used, which is called aposematism. So where an animal will have coloration that is meant to kind of warn other animals. And so the classic example is a bee, which is of course has the yellow and black stripes, and that's generally a sign, don't step on me, stay away from me. So there is a little bit of a kind of martial edge to the connotation of the yellow and black band. I sort of like it again. I mean, my cursed modern mind goes off to that meme of the black arm and the white arm that's still from that film. I can't remember what it is. That's often, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the two uniting in the meme form.
Yeah, like socialist libertarians dunking on whatever, yeah. So it pulls me in that direction. I like the simplicity of it and using the arms to kind of almost represent a third band, sort of bisecting the tinctures on the top and the bottom. But yeah, I think it needs to be the line work needs to be a little bit stronger to kind of stand out. But I think it's actually, it's kind of a nice concept, and I tend to go for these very bold kind of simple designs. So yeah.
Right.
So if I can interject now that we've got our two judges done, the ANCAP flag, where it has the diagonal line splitting it into gold and black, all anarchist flags have that black, I don't know if you call it a field or a wedge in the bottom, and gold would be the one representing that is a capitalist anarchist flag, instead of any other, like white and black would be anarcho-pacifism, green and black is anarcho-primitivism, and all, you get all this other crazy stuff, but I think this would be one of the older ones, barring the communist flags.
Yeah. And if I could add something, I think Dee brought up a really good point about how the hands shaking actually kind of make a third stripe in the middle of white. But I would say on the right-hand side of the flag, it comes a little bit too high up. The arm comes a little bit too high up, and I don't think you have enough yellow there, so maybe moving that down a bit so it's a bit more even would have been better. But overall, I do like this design. It's
cool. Yeah,
it's quite nice.
Bold and simple. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't read a further comment. Just to clarify, the yellow represents gold and the black anarchy. The two shaking hands are white to signify, under the terms of an ANCAP society, and SNAT society is entirely consistent if one would wish to interpret it that way. Okay. All right, now, Spider Spock. Isle of Pinochet. Located at Point Nemo in the Pacific Ocean, is a man-made city-state populated exclusively by ex-Chilean helicopter pilots. A gold standard, cash-full society with no central bank, a synthesis of communitarianism and paleo-libertarianism. Symbols: the Apollonian sun, the Dionysian dolphins, and the helicopter flex. The yellow represents the sun, the blue represents the ocean, white represents the waves. All right, what do you guys think?
Not to question the original author, but are whales Dionysian?
Dolphins. He said dolphins.
Dolphins, yes, but still.
I don't. I don't know about that. I in fact,
I don't think so.
Offhand, I can't. No, I don't think that there's a classical association there might be. That generally dolphins would be with
Neptune,
Poseidon. Yeah.
Yeah, just quickly from my perspective, again, the colours are good. The kind of orangey blue is a classic. I like the form factor. I don't know if you've noticed this is quite a long flag, and often you'll get quite off. Not all flags are the same size, so that's quite a novelty. The one thing that's really triggering me is the helicopter in the middle, because of the way, because of the blades of the helicopter, the space it inhabits. Pushes the body of the helicopter to the left. So for me, it feels off center. There's too much weight on the left hand side because of the right hand blade. So maybe it would have been better again if they had a bigger circle. You could have centered it more on the actual body of the helicopter, which is what the eye looks towards.
I stand corrected, by the way. The dolphin is associated with Dionysus. I believe dolphins actually rescued him. I'd have to look at the myth in more depth, but yeah. So apologies to whoever created this. There is an association between Dionysus and dolphins. Quite clever. Just on the graphical aspects of the flag, I have certain problems with it. I don't like how the helicopter occupies the sun, the solar disk circle in the center. I think that you have to find a way to make it slightly stronger. The thing is, you get so much detail in the helicopter, and then the rest of the flag is very kind of simple and very sort of flat. And so I think the two don't coexist so well. So either make the dolphins slightly more detailed, or make the helicopter slightly simpler, and I would find a way to center it in the circle a bit better. It also, because it's lower level than the dolphins and actually goes into the waves, it almost seems like the helicopter is crashing into the sea. So I would perhaps put the sun higher on the flag, just to kind of put it in its proper place.
He's been staring at the sun too long and is now crashing into the sea as the dolphins frolic around him as he goes towards his death.
Yeah. But I mean, I like all these elements, and I think they could really work. I think they need to be rejiggered because, it's throwing me in stray directions that I shouldn't be going in. But again, if you change the proportions of the dolphins, sort of reoriented things in there, perhaps put the waves lower and smaller on the flag, it work very well, and I do quite like this design. So.
If we didn't have a gazillion flags to go through, Mr. D, I would love to get you into a rabbit hole on mixing different levels of, realism versus abstraction in the same work, right? Or, iconification, right? But anyway, I bet you could give us a marvelous lecture on the topic. But, okay, any other comments on this one?
I would give it a go,
yeah. Any other comments on this?
So are we saying this one stays, or is this one going to be knocked out?
Oh, I don't know. Mr. D doesn't like to be so simplistic. Ferro, make a decision.
I didn't know we were knocking things out at this point. So
okay, well, we can wait then.
We'll come back to these. I think at the end and choose the better ones. Maybe
we can do a quick fire yay or nay round, and then
I'm skipping one that was just totally a joke that I don't want to do on my show. But go to join our Discord and you can see that joke. Okay, Inkian. London has fallen, and the once beautiful but now cursed city has spread its ideas all across the United Kingdom. British citizens who still believed in their nation and their people established a new city-state and called it New London. The flag features a red cross, similar to the cross of St. George, with a trident in front of it. The cross represents the return of Christianity for the new Londonians, as old London has fallen into ruin with a mixture of conflicting religions, from central bankerism to scientific genderism. The trident is a symbol of Britannia, the artistic representation of Britain as a nation. It is kept small and within the cross to show that no nation is bigger than God. It's meant to remind the citizens who look upon it not to repeat the mistakes of old and lose their way. The upper left and lower right corners of the flag feature a red lion's head facing outwards. The lion is an old symbol of Britain and is widely regarded as an animal of great pride. The lion heads are placed in their respective locations for purely aesthetic reasons. 4 lions didn't look as good. The flag is colored in white and red, much like the London flag of old. This serves as a tribute to their history, and both of these colors are iconic in British history. So again, that's Inkian. Let me bring the flag up. Okay, comments, go.
Just quickly from me, obviously it's a kind of a twist on the English flag. The twist being you've got maybe a slightly wider central red line. You've got the lion's head and then the trident. I like the kind of attempt to kind of bring in some of the kind of sea aspects to the island peoples. Although London isn't that seafaring, I would say. So again, but maybe New London is right by the coast instead. And again, the trident isn't. Again, I'm trying to think of other kind of English symbology, and we don't really use it that much. So that's for me doesn't quite hit the mark. But I like the idea of the lion's heads either side. And again, I don't know where the vector's been taken from, but again, maybe with a kind of a unique lion's head. That could be quite interesting, and I like the use of it in either side on the space. It does remind me of another flag. Maybe I'm thinking Corsica, where they do something similar. I'll have to have a think, but maybe D can chat while I quickly Google.
Okay, D.
If you're going to be trad, if you're going to sort of set up a trad society, you can't use those cursed modern lion silhouettes. They have to go. You need to go trad lion. And there are many examples of lion heads to Dexter and Sinister, and you will be able to find sort of inspiration. But yeah, you have to lose those to me look like Tony Blair era lions, and I hate them. Also, you want to pay attention. I mean, all the little subtleties are going to make sense. So why are the lions looking out rather than in? Why are they looking to the side rather than facing forward? You want to think about that. Will that have meaning in your design? They could be like looking to the edges of the flag in a sense, evoking the idea of protecting the borders. But then I think you need 4 of them. I think having the 2, it just doesn't quite make sense. And these would all be very important factors in a very traditional heraldic design. You would need to know exactly, why you were putting them there. And you don't want to choose. You can choose like where to place things. You can choose, the styles of illustration, all that as aesthetic considerations. But you don't want to. For a flag, you can't sacrifice meaning to aesthetics. Meaning is the primary function of a flag. The blazon, the description of the flag, I think is the most important thing first, and then you come up with a design to lift the blazon up. Yeah. So, but yeah, and the trident is carried by Britannia. And I think you can include it here. You've got to make the cross. The horizontal line.
Chunky cross.
Yeah, it's no, you can't. It's got to be equal weight for the horizontal and vertical axis of the cross. But
he's done it to fit the trident on, hasn't he? Basically, so.
Yeah, but no, don't do that. Fix that, and perhaps put the trident elsewhere. You could have the trident going a bend, diagonally across the flag behind the cross. Might be nice, but I think you've got the elements. You've got to really think about what they're doing and what you want them to convey.
I just checked, and it was sort of similar to the Corsican flag, which in itself is quite a spicy flag. So check that out. It's quite entertaining, but it has let's just say faces looking in directions. But carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's keep going. If my computer will respond to my clicks. Okay, here we go. Speaker Scorner. The year is 2033. The United Kingdom has adopted a Bitcoin standard. It is now widely understood that Bitcoin was the creation of a cypherpunk team employed by British intelligence. In 2032, the UK government signed tens of thousands of transactions associated with many of the earliest known wallets previously thought to belong to Satoshi. The Bitcoin price immediately crashed. A 110-year-old George Soros was subcontracted by the British government to buy the dip and load the FUD, allowing the UK to increase its holdings by a further 25%. Following this, 80% of the UK's Bitcoin holdings were cryptographically frozen for a period of 10 years, allowing for a perpetual Bitcoin bull run, which consumed every asset class on Earth. The UK is now by far the world's richest nation. A new age of prosperity built upon sound money began. And we have the flag with the Bitcoin symbol in the middle. And this is like the Union Jack, but with orange, which is, I guess, a Bitcoin color.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's the color that Bitcoin uses for its logo.
Oh, okay. So it's a Bitcoinized Union Jack. Okay, well, this is a tricky one, right, Ferro? Because you talked about originality. This is fun, right, conceptually, but visually, it is very close to. Am I using the right term?
He's just
The
put a
Union
bit.
Jack?
He's just put a bit. He's just put the big Bitcoin at the center and changed the colors. I'm afraid to say. And again, the colors for me, I really hate that orange. I don't know. It's sort of like a slightly rancid orange. The whole color scheme actually reminds me of a Terry's chocolate orange or something like that, or maybe there's another brand which has the similar colors. So I think to say sadly for me, it's not doing anything.
D, any comments?
Is the Bitcoin logo always off kilter like that?
Yes. Yeah, it's tilted.
Okay.
Yeah, diagonal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bitcoin. I mean, I think the description fills in a lot of gaps. That there's a kind of narrative here. I don't know why you put a kind of trademark symbol, associated with a specific cryptocurrency. But I think that a little narrative suggests things. Yeah, I'm not. It does to me. It doesn't make sense to use the Union flag, and just change one of the colors. I think that you need to sort of reimagine that in a more compelling way. I don't hold crypto, and I don't really know much about it. So I don't know. I don't have any particular strong feelings about this.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving. Come on, computer. All right. Here we go.
In that case, might I suggest that you have a look through our back catalog, because we did 2 streams specifically on the origins and foundations of crypto and whether they're
That's
good.
right. Yep.
On the Radical Liberation channel that you're currently on. Please go
Lol.
watch.
Yep. Agreed.
How is the shill? Is that
Lu-
good American standards for the shill?
Yeah, thank you. Ludovicus is the user. Nova Anglia, the OG New England, was a semi-historical settlement of Anglo-Saxon exiles on the eastern coast of the Black Sea. Having fled England following the Norman conquest, the exiles were awarded this new territory in exchange for loyalty to the emperor in Constantinople. 2 of the most powerful Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, Wessex and Mercia, are represented by the white wyvern and gold-blue diagonal bicolor, respectively. The Greek letter B, or beta, I guess, represents the emperor, and then he has Greek, and I'm not going to try to pull that off, and has been rotated to form a crown, echoing Novia Anglia's fealty to Constantinople. He says, thanks for throwing this competition. Vexillology was fun to learn about and way harder than you'd think, as I think we're discovering. Oh, and for those who can't see the detail, there's some kind of texture here, which I personally like.
Given it a bit of realism, yes.
Yeah.
It's
Kind of a
given it grainy effect.
clothy feel or something. Yeah, so, Ferro, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I love the backstory. I'm always really interested to hear about those the nobles traveling after being defeated by William the Conqueror. So very much an interesting thing for me. I think in terms of design, this is the first time we've seen like a diagonal line down the side. It's a
Mm.
very striking color. Again, it's the classic blue and this kind of gold and yellow. What I really like is he's really thought about the size of the icon. I mean, I'm not sure if it's too small. That's my one. I'm still. I need to. It'd be good to hear Dee's thoughts, but I think it is well proportioned for the space. But what I like about it is that he's kind of simplified it. There's no detailing in the eyes. It's just this kind of white blob. It's almost like a silhouette. And then he's put a black line around the outside to make it pop a little bit more. You don't have any of those problems where it's not being seen by any of the colors. And I love the cleverness of turning that beta upside down. I think that's a really fun twist. So you know, I really like this flag. Maybe have a bigger logo emblem at the center.
Just increase the size, keep it the same, but just so it fits better on the space. Yeah, D.
Yeah, your charge, by the way, not logo. You're always dipping into branding, Ferro.
Sorry, yes.
But interesting little heraldry note. So people may wonder what the difference between a dragon and a wyvern is. There isn't one in most cases. I mean, it's a very muddled kind of distinction. In British heraldry, though, a wyvern does have a specific meaning. So it doesn't carry over to continental heraldry as much. But in British heraldry, a wyvern has 2 legs and a dragon has 4 legs. So the dreg goch on the Welsh flag is a dragon. It's got 4 legs, and this is clearly a wyvern. So I like the use of traditional British heraldry here, quite specifically, and I think it's quite a strong design. I may go on the go into the camp of making the charge a bit slightly larger, but yeah, I quite like it, and it's quite traditional. Yeah.
One thing I'd like to note about this design is that the top of the wing kind of lines up very nicely with the diagonal line that separates the blue and the yellow. I quite like that. I think it kind of flows a bit better on the eyes. Just to see that kind of line up.
Yeah, and then
I would just hang on. I just want to pop in and say that
ahead.
I actually don't think that it should line up like that. I mean, to me, my eye goes to that point where the tip of the wing hits the diagonal, but not quite. Because of course you're not going to be able to line it up because one is a perfectly a straight line and the other is a curve. So I would actually not. I wouldn't pay attention to that. And in traditional heraldry, you wouldn't really bother about things like that. Again, people get too focused on logo types, in a kind of modern corporate sense, which flags they're not. So I would maybe not do that. Have the curve go up into the blue a bit more, because then you're not going to notice that. My eye did keep going to that point, and so yeah, don't worry about it. You don't have to line it up. I think it would look perfectly fine if it was apart from the bend altogether.
Okay.
I just, in addition to the cleverness of the beta turned into a crown, just the way that echoes the yellow from the other half of the flag, I thought it was just visually kind of nice. I think it kind of works. Okay, let's keep going. Very nice entry. All right. Sebron gives us an alternate history. Oh boy. The thalassocracy of Kalistock was a city-state located on the coast of Poland. For many centuries, it was a small fishing village, but during the High Middle Ages, it grew rapidly due to its advantageous location in relation to maritime trade routes for fur, timber, and the like. Using this advantage, the city of Kalistock, through a combination of mercantile ability and shrewd diplomacy, managed to, over time, completely dominate trade in the Baltic Sea and use their newfound wealth to fund the construction of numerous trading posts in Sweden, Finland, and realms as far as Ireland. Kalistock, at its peak, rivaled the richest cities in Europe, and it was said that of the ships that sailed the dark seas of northern Europe, only the ones that flew the flag of the Golden Eagle were allowed to have the most valuable goods as their cargo. The eagle represents the people of Kalistock's ambitions and Polish heritage, whilst the two towers are representative of their famed trading posts. The blue symbolizes its naval prowess, whilst the golden yellow represents Kalistok's prosperity. These two colors are united by a red band, which represents the blood of those who died in the War of Independence against the Kingdom of Poland. So this is from Sebron. What do you think?
I mean 10 out of 10 for backstory there. I felt like I was being brought into some kind of alternative history timeline story, so that's great. I mean, I quite like this. I'm getting Moldova vibes, which has kind of a similar color scheme with then like a large bull's head in the center on a crest. I also like the use of the kind of castles or towers. There's not that many flags that use those. I'm thinking maybe Gibraltar or the royal flag of Spain would have them as well. So again, relatively unique iconography. I mean, the eagle is very common. That's like probably one of the most common eagles. But then I don't. The vector graphic again is used is quite unique, and it fits the space really nicely. Notice how the kind of wings curve round, the tail expands a little bit further forward, so it fits the crest very well. So yes, no, very nice, good effort.
D?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a very trad one, and it's very much in line with sort of more traditional heraldic design, heraldic ideas, rather than the kind of going into the modern logotype flag, which I think is more of the tendency of heraldry today, certainly flag. But I was most impressed by the story. I mean, the flag it's very well done, but it's of course it's very traditional, and so it's difficult for me to kind of comment on it further. I think it's a very nice use of very traditional elements of the crest and the castles and such. But as a visual design, it's very solid, a very solid flag design, but doesn't stand out, as a kind of novel thing. But that may not be what you're going for. Again, you sort of have to ask yourself, if you're interested in novelty, if you're interested in the sort of traditional use of these heraldic symbols. So, but
I have a question Sorry, I have a question for the two experts here. Does the yellow outline being the same color as the top band for the shield, does that work, or is that okay?
Oh no! In fact, I think it wouldn't work any other way. I mean, if that was a different yellow, that would be quite horrible.
I see what you're saying, because it's sort of melding into the background, but then you got to think that it almost feels like it's projecting out of the top. That's the feel that it gives. So it does still work. So
just to give like historical background on that real quick, the Imperial German flag before they were dismantled in World War I did something similar. I believe it was a black outline or a red or a white outline, one of their colors, where it had a similar effect here with the cross and the Iron Cross and the canton.
Okay.
Very nice entry. Okay. Here we go. Insanity Constant is the creator. Autonomous city-state of Hydra, which is known as a break-off faction of the former United States after World War IV. They exist as the only true autonomous state that exists in space. They are known as a hard-headed martial faction that has embraced both genetic engineering and cybernetics. They exist as a military state, where the government is more of a corporation than a government. Hydra is founded on a law based in New Century objectivism, where merit is king and anything without purpose is excised. It should not surprise anyone that this society is wholly based in a new take on brutalist architecture. Hydra maintains a status as the most hated colony in all of space due to their takeover of Lagrange 1, yet no one can do anything about it, seeing as Hydra is an independent, self-sustaining city in space with its own army and supply lines. Since its founding, it is made clear that any aggression is met with complete purging of enemies. Few go there, whereas the few who venture there come back with tales of amazement of a silver city populated by benevolent demigods that seem to have evolved above strife. Hydra, the city in the stars, remains an object of curiosity, fascination, and fear. The only recent data the world has on its inner workings is it has a population approaching 1.5 million and has gone almost a century since its last diplomatic communication. Okay.
Wow.
North
I mean,
Korea in
that was
space.
that was like a little sci-fi short story there. That was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly come in and say there's some concepts on this that are very interesting, very novel. You've got the kind of lines, you've got the kind of bubbles, but I can tell now that the kind of low quality system you're using, you're probably doing it in Paint, is holding you back, and that's why things like again like the circle, there's no depth to
I
them.
see.
It doesn't really work for me because of those things. But again, I sort of like the idea of like the Hydra with the 6 lines, and it also does. Again, I'm going to do one of these curse one references. Just reminds me of bubble, whatever those kind of games. Anyway, the
It brings up an interesting idea, which is that, of course, emphasis was made in the description on how hated and loathsome, and kind of based upon unpleasant concepts this colony is. And so it is. I think it's interesting to think of a kind of negative heraldic design. I mean, a heraldic design that is meant to kind of convey the kind of problems with whatever entity you're assuming. So I mean, it's quite horrible looking, and if that's what you're going for, then true. But I do think that it's more of a limitation thing. Again, if you look at the very edges, the lines don't quite intersect the edges and things like that. So you may want to work on it so you keep the kind of weird biotech futurist thing that gives it its menace, but find a way to do it so it's done well, but still bad. Like you can make it look competent, but also still loathsome. So it just rejiggering the elements. You're never gonna have the kind of charge pushed behind like that. So you could work this up into something nice. But I like the idea of playing with kind of subversions of heraldry. I mean, the mention of brutalist architecture. Again, I like the idea of a brutalist flag. How does that work? How can you make that possible? So definitely, the germ of an idea is there. You just have to make it really make it work well.
Well, you talked about more traditional heraldry versus sort of a modern sort of logo focus, right? The whole point of the backstory is that that's exactly, they're not the sort of entity that's going to produce a traditional heraldry. It's going to look more like some bizarre corporate logo, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's got to look good,
yeah.
And I mean, as a corporate logo, it doesn't. I think that these ruthless people would be competent, and they would be able to make it be subversive yet well done.
Strong, yeah. Okay, yeah, really fun direction.
What do you think, Turnip?
I think, now that I take a closer look at it, that these circles are really annoying me, which is quite unfortunate because I can see the thinking that's gone into this. So, uncultured opinion perhaps, but it is, I can't unsee it now. Like, if you look at the furthermost right circle and the furthermost left circle, there's a discrepancy.
Yeah.
There is.
Little details. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna keep it going.
I'm not a fan of the Dorito chip that's in the middle.
Maybe Doritos gave them their start. Okay, Street Therapist 1916. Often compared to the Garden of Eden, Ardal is a city with but one law: no unions. Murder is looked down on. Founded by Otto Bezos, the third, Ardal is a magnificent city that focuses on integrating nature into urban life. The anti-union law is enforced by a homeless wanderer who subsists on the donations of passerbys. He is the second richest man in the city through donations alone, yet sleeps in the city's great parks. The city only allows non-racist whites to enter her gates. Racism is strictly forbidden. The flag has the Catholic keys in the top left corner. The normal flag seal has a silver and gold representing the worldly and spiritual power of the Holy See. This flag contains 2 silver keys, indicating the city holds only mere worldly power. Okay. Am I getting all this? So that's the Amazon logo, right? He talked about Bezos. So I don't think I'm imagining that little arrow,
Yeah, I mean,
curved arrow.
it's intentional, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, again, just in terms of laziness, this is the Kekistani flag again, which has been recolored with a PNG of the Holy See on it, and then an Amazon smile. Again, I like the concept. It's a funny backstory, but I think because of that kind of low energy, I'm out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I'm looking at the Kekistan flag. Yeah, and it's just sort of swapped some things and yeah. Anyway, any comments, Steve, before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, clever idea, but you really need to. Yeah, I mean, why put the Holy Seas crest? And the other thing that bothers me is, of course, is the Amazon logo. It seems like out of proportion. It seems like they squashed it or something. I think it has a different curve than that. So you know, uh, you know, points for amusement, but work on the execution.
Right. Okay. Well, let's keep going. Okay. Wow, it's terrifying as I see we're on an April 2nd submission. How are we doing? If you can figure
They
out sort
start
of
to
roughly
tone down.
percentage-wise. Oh, okay.
We're
But
getting
percentage.
pretty close to like 40%, maybe.
Oh my
But
goodness, you're kidding me.
don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. They
Wow, let's
if
keep
we
going.
hurry up,
masterly.
we'll be out in like quickly.
Okay. Fantasy. Wait, what is it? Pip Gang. Sorry. Fantasy. Oh, okay. It's like a genre or something. Anyway, the Principality of Hinazel was an ancient city-state of dogs, forged in the collapse from a fabled city of man, the name of which is long forgotten. The disappearance of man caused chaos within the animal kingdom, and during this time the first prince of Hinazel rallied dogkind against the warring forces of the cats and encroaching wildlife within the bones of the ancient city. When his conquest was complete, it is said he planted a tree of dogwood and placed upon its first branches a royal crown. I claim this city once more in the name of the masters for me and my sons to guard. We will do so without favor or malice to all who wish to live in peace as we did in the days of man. We will do so only until the day man returns to reclaim this city and this crown from our stewardship. Thus I am prince, for only man can be king. But man never returned. The tree grew, took sick, and died. The crown on its branches crumbled, the city fell, and the line of princes ended. Wow.
There's some epic stories here. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like people need to develop these into full books, quite frankly, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of depth here.
It's like a Greek tragedy, that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, love the colors. I like what he's done. He's got an interesting format on the flag. However, the fact that he's talking about some kind of dog-based civilization makes me think it's fairy related, and so I'm giving it a massive negative fairy point for that.
Fairy related. What do you mean?
Furries.
Furry. Oh, it's making you think of furries. Okay.
I heard fairy. Don't worry.
A dog-based civilization sounds very fairy related, so massive fairy negative points, I'm afraid.
Okay, D,
I
comments
hate
quickly.
to say you brought a very cursed idea into my head, Ferro, which is that so much of heraldry uses sort of slightly anthropomorphic animals to kind of tell its stories, and so now I just have this horrible feeling that all of heraldry was leading up to furrydom.
Yeah, return. Furries are just returning to tradition. Is what you're telling us, D. Anyway, any quick comments on the design?
I will say I quite like this. I like also that they've used a square, which is perfectly legitimate in flags. There aren't many.
Yeah.
So if you look at the flag, the current flags of the world, there's only a couple of I think flags that are in the format of a square, but it is a traditional shape, and I quite like the design and the colors. I mean, just as an aesthetic object, I think it's quite a nice arrangement. I don't know where I feel like these components came from somewhere. I don't know if they were drawn by the person that did the flag, so I'd have to look into that and into how much effort was put into it. But you know, I'll be a bit more charitable than Ferro is that I do like the design if it's not listed from somewhere.
Okay.
Just really quickly, there was myths and legends of the dogmen that lived in the east. To be fair, in medieval times, so maybe there is a heraldic backing to that. So maybe I was being a bit too harsh.
Well, even worse is, of course, you know, there's lots of memes now of people taking images from marginalia from illuminated manuscripts, which is frequently populated by, you know, rabbits robbing people and cats, you know, sowing the harvest and such. So maybe all of European civilization was leading up to the furry.
Up to furries.
Oh,
Please
dear.
don't make that be true. It's a
Yeah.
horrible thought.
I'm waiting
But
for
the
this,
flag is good. The flag is quite it's the colors work. I think the symbology works. I like the backstory to it, and I quite like the idea of this tree being planted and it being represented on the flag there. Turnip, do you have
Hmm.
anything to add?
Nothing that's already been said, no.
I
Or,
just
or it hasn't already been said.
while it's on the screen or about to be on the screen. Anyway, I'm getting confused in time. Lambda
Also, I
had
was
has a. Oh, go ahead.
Well, just very quickly, I mean, also, it's inevitable that I'm just thinking of this tree and thinking of a dog civilization, and just thinking that they're gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna piddle on the tree, aren't they?
Lambda just had a super chat. It just disappeared from the screen. Generous super chat that just says ahem. AHEM. Like he's clearing his throat. I don't know what that means. I was hoping you guys, there was some inside joke that I was missing. Okay, anyway.
No, it's like he's trying to like suggest that we've forgotten something, but I don't know. Lambda company, what do you want?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Okay. All right. So our producer shares something. Port Omic, a subsidiary of Mix City, is the official port city of Mix City. The flag is an orange rectangle representing a disappointing half of a slice of American cheese, which is all you get on a filet-o-fish. On a light brownish field representing the sweet bread a filet-o-fish sandwich is served on. The port city is home to the McNavy, McMerchant Fleet, and the McFishing Fleet, and serves as McDonald's center of distribution of McDonald's food, as well as the launching point of Mac invasions worldwide. Anyway, mostly a joke, and it's just an orange on white or something. So
Excellent trolling. Excellent trolling.
Yeah.
there.
yes.
If you submitted this to a gallery and called this fried egg, this would get the Turner Prize, I'm pretty sure. So
Millions and billions of dollars would flow to you.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, very
well,
fun. I've been waiting
also,
for this one.
As hilarious.
Yeah.
Pulling up the pulling up the kind of Navy thing, because there is, so in McDonald's lore there was a captain called, I think he was called Captain Crook, who was the mascot who was used to promote the filet-o-fish sandwich, which does indeed have half a miserable slice of processed cheese on it. So yeah, very very good. Yeah, very good.
Okay, somebody else says this is the flag of the Free City of Hong Kong. It features a purple background because it's rare and cool, but also because it mixes the Chinese and British colors. The orchid flower is the centerpiece, in keeping with tradition. Around the flower and over the island stand the British lion and a traditional dragon. And finally, having won their independence by defeating the evil chairman Xi Jinping, he is represented on the flag by a dead Winnie the Pooh, which also tells the world that Hong Kongers won't respect copyrights. Wow. There's a lot going on here. A little detail that's amusing but hard to see is that the Winnie the Pooh, who kind of looks like he's sleeping from a distance, if you look closer, he has X's on his eyes, like in the cartoons, to represent a dead cartoon character. Okay, we could probably go on about this, but as briefly as you can, Ferro.
I mean, in terms of original design, he's obviously just taken different parts from Photoshop. But this is where I was saying that it's been well crafted. If you see the edges of poo, it's been cut out really, really nicely. I mean, I got to be honest, I absolutely hate the purple color. I think it ruins the entire thing for me. It's just it's like a rancid. It's just like almost like a magenta or something. It's just too bright. And again, looking at maybe more like a royal red would have been really nice. Or is that what's the current? The old Hong Kong flag was. I can't remember, but I really like the actual layout of this. He's put the elements together perfectly. So again, just the purple background is messing it up.
Right, D.
Yeah, I mean, very strong on the comedy. Many of these entries. I mean,
Yeah.
I do like I do like the humor involved in this. I mean, yes, as Ferro said, I mean, it is sort of cobbled together, but I mean, most flags are cobbled together. I mean, it was very standard to kind of crib designs. There's a lot of leeway. So when you have the blazon of a flag, which just tells you that there's a lion rampant or a dragon rampant or passant or whatever, and you could draw that lion and dragon in quite an original style, but most didn't. They would just sort of lift it. So there is a tradition there. But yeah, I again, I think that with original illustration, this would be quite amusing. And yeah, the mauve, I would call that mauve, that color in the background. I mean, it's certainly eye-catching, but maybe a bit strong, for this. Also, I would make Winnie the Pooh the same yellow as the other animals in the flag.
Right.
Again,
it's slightly off.
Yeah, just to keep. I mean, I understand, of course, you'd be keeping the color of the traditional bear, but Pooh bear. But you want to maybe if you pulled that yellow into the Pooh, it would be even funnier because it's again a play on heraldic coloring.
Yeah, it might be because of my
ruining.
Oh, let me finish real quick, Matt Mark. It might be because of my bias towards red. That's just a color I like and I'm visually drawn to. But if the background color, if you can kind of mentally turn it black in your head or something like that and just look at the red, it's kind of neat. The red's on the toes, on Winnie the Pooh's shirt, in the middle of the orchid, the tongues, the two crowns. If that background color wasn't distracting, I think the use of red in here would be kind of a visually nice, Go ahead, Matt.
Personally, I quite like purple.
Purple, lavender. They did all seem to just visit the nail salon, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to say they all look like they were just in like some sort of salon. But the thing I was about to say is, and I might be ruining the spirit of the joke here, but if you were to actually remove Winnie the Pooh there, I think the flag would actually be okay.
Yeah, you mean not jokey, jokey, and look like
not jokey. I thought
a proper flag.
It would be it might be a proper flag if you actually remove the Winnie the Pooh. It would be very, it would have a lot going on in it. It certainly does, but I think it would be okay actually. Very nice flag.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's keep going. I'm terrified of how many more there are. Okay, ECE Paladin. Bayboro is a small town in North Carolina which sits on the Bay River, connecting it to the Pamlico Sound and by extension the Atlantic Ocean. Officially incorporated in 1881, Bayboro has been around since the colonial period and is the oldest incorporated town in Pamlico County. Bayboro's primary occupations are fishing and farming, represented on the flag below. The background green stands for the farming fields, which occupy most of the land, and the blue is for the water we fish on. The foreground image is half corn and half flounder, the best fish. It's a wonderful place that loves God, country, and good food. I'm struggling with the thing in the... What? I'm sorry, what do you say? It's fish,
the fish
corn,
fish
and
is on the left. Yeah, put your finger on it. The corn's on the right-hand side.
It's giving me Liberia vibes.
It's weird. It's just
if you've seen their flags.
Oh,
Well,
I
it's-
know what you mean, Turnip.
They
Yes.
look.
Yeah, yeah. They have
Comedy-
corn on it, don't they? Yeah.
High comedy, those flags. Yeah.
I mean, this just doesn't work for me. I hate to say, I do like the
Yeah.
idea of trying to like find two similar objects, but you couldn't tell this is a fish. I thought
Right.
it was like a corn, and then like the corn after you've like fried it or something like that. I don't know. I
Yeah,
thought it was
fried
like a
corn.
deep fried corn,
Fried
American
corn
thing.
on the cob.
Or the
Yeah.
corn
Only-
after it passes
Um,
through the digestive system of a mammal.
Yeah.
But I quite like if you just had the sweet corn by itself. I think it'd be quite charming, and I quite like the kind of the leaf coming off. I think that's quite
Mm.
a nice simplification of the corn. But again, I don't like the background colours too much. I'm afraid. So
Yeah,
sorry,
I
but it was a good effort.
I don't want to spend too much more time on the design, but I did want to just say that the spirit behind this and the you know, the description of the town, the loving description of the town, I thought was really sweet. You know.
And
Okay,
I
let's-
think there's a germ of I didn't get my say. There's a germ of a good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would encourage this person, maybe to do this. I don't know that I would go for the half corn, half fish because it has slightly cursed, like genetic engineering vibes to it. But but I do think that having the having an ear of sweet corn, like sort of intersecting the fish in another way, would be quite nice. So that there's a germ of an idea here, that's captivating for me.
Workshop.
Well, I
it.
would say overall, I think I find this flag very corny. That's all I would say.
Okay, keep going. Michael Kelly, this is the flag of New Eden. New Eden is located in central West Virginia. Following a nuclear war with China, a majority of the U.S. was destroyed and the federal government collapsed. West Virginia, being remote and poor, remained mostly unscathed. Hidden in one of West Virginia's many valleys, six farming families banded together to create the city of New Eden. The forest green represents the woods that hide their town and provide the timber to build their homes. The bundle of wheat represents the agricultural industry that is central to the town, and the 6 stars represent the 6 founding families whose most senior members rule the town in council. Okay, Ferro?
I mean, this is the Nigerian flag plus a tiny emblem in the center. The emblem needs to be bigger. I don't know if he intentionally did it as a Nigerian flag. Maybe the 6 remaining families were all of African descent, but I think the stars and everything in the center need to be larger.
Well, the Nigerian flag is just the... Oh, wait. It's just green on either side and white down
Green
the
and
middle,
white.
right?
Yeah.
Something similar, yes.
By the way,
it's giving
every time I look up someone's flag, it's got someone with a skin-tight version of the flag on them. Like, is this a new thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
anyways.
What have you been searching for? Everything's personalized, Radlib. So it's
I just
personalised to you.
searched for Nigerian flag, and it's got a lady in a Nigerian flag bikini. Anyway,
So,
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Bonus points for this. The green stripes on either side and the white stripe in the middle with a crest in the middle or something like that, or the what was D calling it earlier?
Charge.
Yeah,
The charge.
the charge.
It makes me think of the Rhodesian flag, which is bonus points, especially given the darker shades of green on the flag here. So, I mean, just by association, that's kind of bonus points, but nothing to do with the actual flag quality itself.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the Nigerian flag now. I think a darker shaded green is actually used, and I'm pretty sure that the white center line is a bit thinner.
D?
I actually sort of like it. I do think again it needs some finesse, but and I would certainly agree that the kind of you may want to make the charge and the stars and such. It either has to be smaller or larger. You either want to make it a kind of a crest, or you want to make it a sort of quite central design. So yeah,
Got it. So it's kind of in the middle, lost in the middle between a little
lost in
sort
the
of
middle
crest.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
By the
we
way, I
go.
just checked. There are 15 more. So
15 more?
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's keep rocking fast here. 64 cousins. This is the flag of the nation state of Line-Gupistan, a state obsessed with, among other things, GDP.
Line go
line
up a stand.
Line-Go-Upistan. Sorry. A state obsessed with, among other things, GDP. Some of you may know this place. Some may even be living in Line-Go-Upistan at this very moment. Okay, just a quick joke. We're not going to get into the design. Line go up is a running joke for us.
Shout out for the boomer moment when you do a screen grab of the entire screen and then they drop it down.
I remember
Hilarious.
DMing this individual saying, perhaps just do a snip of your screen, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll get around to it," and never did.
Yeah.
The funny
anyway,
thing about
It
this
just adds to it.
is that you could actually make a clever version of this that was like sort of like you could put a an heraldic arrow, and you could have the the kind of bend, the red bend, and so like you could disguise the fact that it was line go up, and then it would be an even funnier joke, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Agreed. Really funny.
Agreed. Okay. Robin 7, Ellenberg. The first settlement of Mars became an independent city-state when it was able to sustain itself without help from Earth. It soon declared independence without fear of embargo from Earth. The eagle represents the city-state. The Winchester rifle represents the colony as a new frontier and their defense against the nations of Earth trying to subjugate them. The Saturn V represents the technology that brought them to Mars and will sustain them there. The crown represents God's sovereignty. The colors in the background represent a Martian sunrise, which are blue, by the way, with the crown being the sun. This symbolizes a new dawn for Mars and the city. Yeah, so Ferro, real quick before you go here, go on this. That black, colors with the charge, I guess, being black. Is that something that's done in flags?
Yeah.
It is, okay.
Albania, for example, has a double-headed eagle in black on a red background, which is what I thought about. It has kind of like Serbian vibes as well, or like there's definite Balkan vibes.
Color scheme is Liechtenstein.
But I think the only thing that ruins it for me is actually like the weapons, because it just, I don't know, maybe either it's a nuclear missile sized Winchester rifle or a Winchester rifle sized nuclear weapon.
Right.
And then again, it totally crosses over into the wings of the eagle, so you're missing out the best parts, like the legs and stuff like that. So I think the weapons interrupt the main animal too much.
Right. Maybe they could be off to the side instead of the eagle holding them or something. D, thoughts?
Yeah, I would go along with Ferro. I quite like it, but yeah, you want to pull the talons out, and so the weapon can be kind of separated from the eagle a bit, because they get a bit too obscured. Either that, or go for rather than a silhouette, go for a drawing that actually has the tail, so that you can see the tails of the weapons as well. But it's quite a strong image upon standard themes with a little bit of a modern twist, which is clever. So
yeah, cool. Okay. Let's see. Okay, what JG? What did he do? Digital handshake representing electronic contracts at crypto. First city state in a new solar system. I abstain from winning. Okay, it's a little hard to see the flag. He's tried to get it fluttering in the wind a bit here, and he's put it on a spacey background. But it's these two hands shaking, but they look more like they're digital hands. Yeah, go ahead, Vera.
Well, all I was going to say is that this is what happens when you're a smart ass that does a full render of the flag and puts it into space. You can't actually see the flag. I mean, for me, the format of it is just way too long. It's like a big sausage flag. Look at it. It's just one.
Right.
And then because of that, then the spacing's all messed up. I mean, again, the yellow and purple is a great color, but I mean, it doesn't work for me at all, I'm afraid.
What are those flags? JG. What are those flags that are really long and thin? Or I don't know that they're even called flags.
Pennons or pennants. Yeah, I hate to say it, but Ferro, there is an ancient tradition for making very long flags of this type. In fact, I think some of the oldest heraldic flags are quite long pennons like this. So, yeah,
I stand corrected. I'm sure JG was thinking of that.
I'm sure he was.
Okay, well, let's keep rolling. He doesn't want to be in the running, so I want to
Danish people
focus
are
on our...
automatically disqualified, by the way.
Hey now, George Westinghouse contributes this after 122 years of democratic struggles of the world. The Social Democrats had shifted so far that they had become anarcho-capitalists. They had also finally located the one true savior of all economics, Satoshi Nakamoto. He wasn't human, but he was an omnipotent being of ultimate power. He could incite the masses to commit to any financial position. It was said, many preached to the choir, but Satoshi is the architect of the Psalms. They went to the tallest peak of the world, Mount Everest. They hollowed it out and stayed there as the newfound nation of Bit-Kapistan. They waived all the powers of state, and the only religion was the trust in Satoshi. Years later, Elon Musk III came there to start his personal space program like his father and his father's father. He was most successful of the Musk clan since he had the least distance from ground to space. Through this, he made a constellation of weapons, all pointed down, able to crack the planet in half to its core. They pose all power and are the only ones in their time to have spacefaring capabilities. The yellow and black are the symbols of anarcho-capitalism. The white is for the snow of the mountain, and the red is for the blood of the locals that had to be sacrificed in order for Satoshi to remain immortal. Wow. The symbols themselves being Bitcoin, Satoshi's gift to us all, and the rose of the once leftist Social Democrats.
Brad, I'm really starting to worry about your audience that sound like they're 50% kind of used up fantasy writers and then 50% like Bitcoin fanatics.
Right.
When you describe Satoshi as this kind of godlike figure, I mean, we all love Bitcoin, but like this is, I think this is going too far here. I mean, just in terms of the flag, reminds me of, is it Tibet or Bhutan, which has a kind of a similar jaggedy flag. I mean, that backstory. Yeah, but the backstory was horrific. Also, he doesn't know how space travel works because you want to be close to the equator, don't you? Not as high up as possible. In terms of the flag, I like the rose. Can we just stop putting bitcoins on things? This is what we've learned. No more Bitcoin emblems on things. Thank you.
Any comments before we move on?
Utterly cursed. Except for as I said, I have a fondness for pennon-based flags like that. So.
That style, yeah. Okay, keeping going. Mannerfold, Flag of the Tiger Riders, country of Evolia, where quality holds out against quantity. What? Why would this make us think of Evola? This flag. He didn't say anything.
Riding the tiger.
Yeah, the tiger.
Oh, the tiger. Okay, so this is an extremely iconified, extremely iconified version of a tiger, right?
The tiger's bumhole is what it is.
I wasn't gonna say. I thought it was too vulgar, and of course, the straight to it.
Like the moth to the flame. That role for. I'm there for you to fill that role for you.
Okay, well, let's keep going. Ludovicus, another entry. Joke entry. My real one is higher up. Looks like we had a similar brainwave. I don't think this flag needs much explaining. Oh, okay. It's another Ride the Tiger.
Tiger Riders.
A saddle.
I hate to say it. The joke flag is the better Tiger Rider flag, I'm afraid to say. Sorry.
Wait, I'm sorry. Which one is the better one?
Ludovicus is.
Oh, okay. You like that one better
than the tiger butthole? Yes, I do.
Right. The saddle with the tiger stripes. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Just E. No story this time. Huh. This is a strange one. It looks like it was done with graphic tools from a previous generation or something.
I know, the Amiga. It's an Amiga paint program.
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Is this from Warhol's Amiga days?
Say,
D?
Exactly. I mean,
anyway.
I mean, just give the prize to this gentleman already.
I like that it has. I like that it has no story. It has no explanation. You know, like there's something so charmingly retarded about it.
I can just imagine a little like autistic child like giving you this as like a gift, no context.
You know what?
Yeah,
I think showing up to the flag competition, laying this thing down, refusing to elaborate, and then leaving it has to count for something.
Chad energy.
Chad.
Chad.
I mean, it's
Okay,
JPEG artifacts, the flag. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
very funny.
approve.
Okay,
I
keep going. Rye is the entrant. Free imperial city of Ruhestadt. Frei, Reichstadt, Ruhestadt. Known for its lush vineyards, natural mineral springs, and jaw-dropping scenery, the city of Ruhestadt, City of Calm, is located at the foot of the Western Carpathian Mountains in eastern Bohemia, with approximately 800 people living within Ruhestadt's immediate jurisdictions and an additional several hundred people residing in the surrounding areas. The city was granted the status of imperial immediacy in 1464 by Holy Roman Emperor Frederick III after he stayed in Ruhestadt for 6 months to recover from a severe illness and subsequently fell in love with its serene isolation. Since then, Ruhestadt witnessed the launch and completion of several large-scale urban projects thanks to generous funds from the imperial treasury. Prior to the outbreak of the 30 Years' War, this once obscure settlement subsequently became a popular destination for nobility all over the HRE. However, from 1648 onwards, Ruhestadt's size and relevance would greatly diminish by the time of Napoleon's rise to power. Luckily, the city managed to hold on to its imperial immediacy status by staying relatively obscure. The city has become a historic financial center, home to some of the oldest trusts and Mittelstands. The civil banner of Ruhestadt was adopted in 1498. 1/3 of the hoist is gold, containing half of a black two-headed eagle to denote Ruhestadt's imperial heritage. Meanwhile, the remaining field is divided horizontally into a white and green bar charged with inverted colored chevrons, with green symbolizing the fertile farmlands and forests, and white symbolizing the snow-capped Carpathian Mountains. Now, he has two versions. There's that, and then there's one where it sort of shows it on a flag with ripple, fluttering in the wind. I kind of think the second version
Go
is...
for the flat one.
Yeah, I know. The second version is kind of fun to look at, but the flat one. Okay, go ahead, Ferro.
All I was going to say is, do you know the meme where it's like two cats and it's like, I'm going on a long voyage, I'm going to read a leftist meme. Hearing some of these descriptions is like that. I'm going on
Right.
a long voyage of discovery just to find out about the backstory. You know what? It was, again, an excellent alternative history. The flag itself, I actually genuinely like. You've obviously got the German eagle on the left-hand side, which has been kind of, cropped. And then you've got, again, that the kind of hat tip to Bavaria, which has its kind of like white and blue diamonds. Again, is a very unique flag. So I think this is a really great take on it, and I actually really like this one. Very simple but powerful.
So to me, it looks like it's just two things stuck together. I mean, D?
But it's in heraldry though, you would sometimes like divide up a flag though, depending on where something's come from, or if it's two houses joining together. So
you would, but you would never split a heraldic beast that way. You wouldn't slice it in half.
Yes, that's true. You'd shrink it down, wouldn't you? So.
That's my problem. I mean, I quite like, so major points for using proper heraldic language. The person obviously knows what they're talking about in terms of hoist and all of that. And I like the flag, and I also quite like that we're given both the flag as a sort of representation, and also as a flying on a pole as well. But yeah, I wouldn't bisect the eagle like that. I just it first when I looked at it, it's almost like the eagle is like peering out from behind the stage curtain, like hello. So, but yeah, just work on that, and I think you really could have something here. I mean, but major points for the kind of attention to tradition.
Okay. Moving on. Absolutely subversive.
I feel like.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, I feel like it would play a trick with your eye. The different colors, the white and the green, at different colors at the different top and bottom. I feel like it would play a trick on your eye when it was flappy in the wind. That's all.
I actually like the flapping in the wind version. It persuades me a little more than the flat version for some reason. Okay. So, oh, come on.
Settle in, boys, because this is a long one.
Oh,
Pray
no.
for me as I embark on this journey.
Yes, that
This
was
journey
the
of-
meme. That was the meme. Turnip got it. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna get some water while Turnip reads us this flag by absolutely
Oh, okay.
absolutely subversive.
Why are leftist memes so?
Pull it
Let
up.
me
Or
get
actually,
to it real
I'm gonna put the flag up and let you read the text while people meditate on this
Oh,
design.
Just
Tell me when to start.
Start.
All right.
Go.
This is the flag of Ceres. Ceres is the largest planetary body in the asteroid belt of our solar system, and in the year of 2121, Ceres Mining Corporation was founded by 6 private entrepreneurs with the goal to create the first human settlement located within the asteroid belt. After a total of 16 years of preparation, the Ceres Mining Corporation was finally able to fly 3 spaceships with the capabilities of creating a mine and refinery, building a habitable settlement for qualified individuals, and a docking station for the purposes of trade. Okay, so they botched the sentences. Okay. The reason why Ceres Mining Corporation chose Kara as its place of settlement is because it has the second largest amount of water in the inner solar system, making it a far easier place for habitation, as well as it gives a solid launching off point to the rest of the asteroid belt. One of the other goals of the Ceres Mining Corporation is to find other asteroids of interest with rare and difficult metals that can be extracted and sold to Earth and Mars. After extracting the metals, they will be brought back to the large smelters of Ceres before making their way to market. The first initial settlers to Ceres had to qualify in order to move to the settlement. They have to become stakeholders in Ceres Mining Corporation with initial buy-in amounts of a staggering 0.05 of a Bitcoin. They also had to be young, capable, married husbands and wives, with one of the spouses having a required skill set that is integral to the survival and growth of the settlement on Ceres. So you get your end of Dr. Strangelove there. When signing up to be a settler for the Ceres Mining Corporation, there is also a contract obligation for married couples to have children in the future when the settlement is habitable. This way, Ceres Mining Corporation has a natural organic way to grow the settlement over time. If an individual did not meet the qualifications to be an initial settler, there was always the future opportunity as the settlement grows in time. Importantly, the 6 entrepreneurs who founded Ceres Mining Corporation valued personal property rights above all else. Their idea was that settlers who have ownership of their own property and own shares in Ceres Mining Corporation are more likely to care and preserve the settlement. They would have a stronger vested interest in seeing a positive growth to both the settlement and Ceres Mining Corporation. Due to severe isolation in Ceres, the Ceres Mining Corporation created its own native currency for the settlement and surrounding asteroids under their control. This currency has its basis in both gold and silver, but is traded amongst the settlers as a digital currency. The gold and silver reserves are stored and monitored by the Ceres Mining Corporation and must perform quarterly audits to make sure that the reserves are accurate. The digital currency can only be added or taken away and must accurately reflect the precious metals in the reserve. The code is open to being viewed by all settlers and investors with Ceres Mining Corporation. The flag of Ceres. Shall I keep going, or?
Yeah, no, I'm just glad we finally got onto the flag now. We've had the foundation there. Let's continue.
The flag of Ceres. In the center of the flag is a hexagon. The hexagon represents the 6 founding entrepreneurs who started Ceres Mining Corporation. The border of the hexagon is gray. It represents the surface of Ceres and the minerals for which the settlers are all working towards extracting from the asteroid belt. The red of the center of the hexagon is for the fires of the furnaces that refine the ore into precious metals and drive the economy and make settlers and shareholders that drive the economy and make settlers and shareholders of Ceres Mining Corporation wealthy. The star in the left corner is the sun of our solar system. It's what Ceres and all the other asteroids orbiting around and follow through space. Okay. The blue represents the open space and freedom of the settlers. also the imagination of the possibilities of what they can achieve out in the asteroid belt of the system. 50 Okay.
Still goes.
50 years
What?
on since the settling of Ceres, and the settlement has been booming. Daily spaceships arrived and leave transporting various types of metals back to Earth and Mars. It has become a thriving economy and is an environmental breakthrough. It has been able to meet a large percentage of Earth's mining needs. This means that mining and refining is no longer necessary on Earth, allowing for most of this practice to be done in space where it does not have any environmental effect on Earth. The population has tripled in size from the initial settlers, with the majority of the growth being organic from the original population that settled Ceres. As well, 3 other asteroids are in the process of being mined, with an additional 5 more being prospected for future mining operations. Done.
Wow.
Well done.
Epic.
Interestingly,
Thank you all.
in the
Thank-
time it took to do this, I actually have created a asteroid colony.
Thank you all for going on this long journey with us. We understand it took half the fucking stream, but
Okay. It seems like it was more about the story than spending a lot of time on the flag design. Any quick comments on the flag design before we move on?
There is an irony to this because I quite like the flag.
Oh,
However, all of the symbology was stuck there was 3 lines in the middle of the text. I want people who are listening to the stream to look up the word terse and take it in, suck
Right.
it in for
Right.
next year. But no, I think it's okay. I think it's nice.
I mean, you do have a
Okay.
community of budding creative writers, Radler, but
Clearly. Yeah.
flag.
How long did that take me to read? Like, I'm
I
looking
don't
through
know.
the chat to see the reactions, and I'm going back to
45 minutes. I don't know.
I'm
My
going-
favorite comment was Lambda's that in the time it took to read this, Radler went and had 3 more children. But yeah, I mean, the flag isn't bad. It's got a slight.
I like the flag.
It's got a slight 8-bit quality, but I think
it
having
does have
the
a bit quality.
having the hexagon in the center there is quite a novel thing. So but it obviously needs a bit of work, but gain germ of an idea. But yeah, God.
Okay. Well, let's keep going. There must be an end. Okay. I don't know how to say this name. Juldor? Crusader city-state flag. The symbolism is red is the blood of Christ. The swords, a reminder that this land was conquered and needs to be protected. 3 swords, the Trinity. White, the salvation Christ offers. Yellow, the sands of the Levant. So it's a Crusader flag.
You know what? I really like the background colors because it reminds me of the Catholic Pope's flags. But then I like the sand. This is someone who's spent a bit of time changing the colors off some of the default settings.
Mm.
However, the swords and the Cairo don't fit in the space. The Cairo is too big. Look at it; it's cropping on the top there. It's so it needs to be resized. Maybe the 3 swords are okay, but I would again, if you're doing something quite bold and simple like that, I would maybe go for a more medieval look to the swords, personally. But yeah, D.
Yeah, I would probably pull the Cairo down in the center and maybe cut the fields there or something like that. I mean, I quite like it is a quite strong medievally flag with medieval connotations, and again this would have been in perfect keeping with traditional heraldry. But yeah, it just needs a sort of fundamental shift there, but not bad.
Okay. Cool.
What would
let's keep
you
going.
gentlemen suggest about maybe rearranging the sword so that one of the swords is vertical and 2 of the swords are kind of crossed over, or maybe in some other pattern, just to give it a bit of flair, I guess. I think it's a bit.
Yes, so the thing is, I think you suffer from the problem that Dee mentioned when you're mixing up the scale and the sword. It becomes hard to identify things. So again, maybe if there's a way of having them cross over, but then they're a different color or something like that, or they've got a board around them to show them. But yeah, no, it could be a good twist.
Okay. Prince of Parma, flag of the common man. Beaver represents the urge to set up one's own institutions. The orange cross represents alliance with other such institutions. The black of the night represents the despair of the times. The nebulas represent the confusion of the times. The stars represent the hope of the age to come.
I just think this makes me think of Ulster.
Go ahead.
This makes me think of an Ulster space beaver that's
It does.
degrading in space. I like how, like, again, I don't know if this was another Amiga special here, but just like the real crap lines on the side, they're just sort of degrading it. It sort of has this kind of derelict quality to it. Also, I can't tell if the beaver is. I either see this as the beaver's looking to the left and that's its face, or it looks like the beaver. We're seeing the beaver's rear end. Is this what we're seeing? And the beaver's looking around from this side.
I didn't even know that. And if you hadn't told me it was a beaver, I thought it was like a pile of shit. I don't know what that is. I mean, beaver. Putting beaver in heraldry, and there are beavers in heraldry. But I can't even read it as a beaver, and I don't understand what's up with the kind of stains, the stained purple. I don't know. Again,
well, it's supposed to be nebula. Nebula up at the top, but kind of recognized.
Can't do that. No.
Yeah.
No, hate it.
Yeah, I have to say, the pixelation has just looked kind of odd in the couple cases where there's been that. But you could imagine an approach. I'm not saying this would be traditional at all, but you could imagine an approach where you do a sort of a tattered kind of, you incorporate a tattered look, sort of it's meant to be a flag of something that's in collapse, sort of empire in decline or something, like really go with that look. And I think it could be kind of interesting, Anyway, okay.
It looks like it came out. It looks like a sequence from a video game, and this beaver's underground and has to choose its next path. You got four paths going off, and you gotta choose.
Okay. He said, rule against multiple entries. Disregard this one in favor of the one I made earlier. How about Mad Mark? Just because this is taking forever, I'm just gonna splash this up on the screen without reading the backstory. Let everybody look real quick and then move on. All right. Okay,
stained
quite
glass
interesting
material, really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something about dwarves, wasn't there? Basically, you need to see a bit of the backstory. This is one of the better hand colored ones. I mean, you can see around like the lyre and stuff. That's all been done by hand, and the sword's very cool as well. So I think this is the best bit of like actual artistry we've seen so far in terms of like.
I didn't realize it was handmade.
Yeah, draftsmanship, and I like that kind of eye, the projection and the colors and stuff, the kind of uniqueness of the circle. This is a top flag. I don't know what the other flag that the guy did. Maybe I'll look up.
Okay. This is from. Did I say who it was? It's Pip Gang. Pip Gang. Go ahead, D.
I would agree with all those points. I think it's very strong and I mean, I don't know how this would function as a flag, unless it was placed on a square. You couldn't really fly this as a flag, but So I would certainly, if the competition is indeed creating a flag, a flag is a very specific thing, and so you might want to set this onto a field so that it could be flown as a flag. Very, very strong effort. Very strong effort.
Yeah, okay. I've looked at it, and it's the guy who did the furry flag as well.
The furry flag. Okay.
The dog. Well, he's got a great sense of design.
Cool. Okay, well, let's keep rolling. Oh boy. Okay, Rashi Strider. How are we doing, guys?
We're almost there.
Anywhere near the end? Almost there. Okay. All right. Last day entry. Oh, now we're up to this week. Okay. Last day entry is, as I only learned about the contest yesterday, I had a good, okay, blah, blah. This is the F around find out flag. The I don't give a shit flag. Yeah. It represents a good time and traditional freedom. The guns tell my enemies to F off. The X created by the pistols represents God, the ring, the crown of thorns, but also the boundaries of my land, as it will be metaphorical walled garden in a world of collapse. The three stripes within the ring represents the Trinity. Obviously, the red represents blood, the blood of my nation, and within the ring, the sacrificial blood of Christ. Hell, it may even represent the spilt blood of my enemies with the bottom stripe. The white, the spirit of rebirth and cleansing, a baptism, the destruction of old, and the restart of something new. Half Polish, so I saw those colors. I was like, yeah, why not? Its nephew, commie flag. When America is balkanized, this here flag will humbly wave over my land as we defend it from those damn dirty commie a-holes. Our war cry shall be to hell with central banking. We'll plunder and raid as we march toward the enemy's strongholds, taking all the precious metals we can find, taking their women and taking their lives before taking their livestock. This new American nation state would be a monarchy or whatever. Everyone would be legally obligated to own a firearm, no usury, and free to speak unless speech is blasphemous or commie in nature. Kings, referendums, warrior priest judges. It'd be a mess, but everyone would have a hell of a time. I call it the new American super holy Neo-Roman Empire. Okay. There we go. There's the flag.
You know what? I sort of like this flag.
I
And
appreciate it.
it's kind of got like a 70s vibe to it. I didn't know whether it's just the low quality silhouette of the gun, whether it's the kind of multiple stripes. I like it. I've never ever heard someone describe 4 pistols in the Kai format as a representative of God. I will definitely be encouraging my local bishop to emblazon 4 guns on his coat for the next high Anglican service. I like it.
D.
Yeah, I mean it's so novel that I do like it. I mean I would have put the pistols facing in saltire formation, but you need to be careful when doing that because it can start to resemble a certain symbol from a mid-century German.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nazi gun.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I think it's quite clever. Certainly the German of an idea there, and there's a certain tone in the writing that that is conveyed, but that is conveyed by the flag.
Right, it comes through. Yeah. Well, that's saying something. Right?
What is the bottom white stripe meant to represent? The thin one.
I don't think he said anything about that one.
Did the maker
Different-
even know?
Yeah. There,
Something or whatever.
various people's blood are being represented by the various bits of red in here. I think so. Anyway, great fun. Yeah, and you're right. It's striking. Okay, no description here, but I think we get it. And D, I feel like this design wouldn't offend you. You might like it.
Oh
What's
no,
being said?
I love hate crime the flag. I think that's quite good.
Hate crime the flag.
You know,
Love it.
Hate crime the flag. I mean, I would certainly treat the flames in a slightly more kind of stylized manner. You could do something. You do a very funny kind of take on this. In fact, if you did it as a again a traditional the bend, in other words, having the diagonal slash right through the middle, and then have the flames being very stylized, arranged like what they would call a fur in heraldry. That would be quite fun. But yeah, it's curious, and again a sort of curious idea to make your flag based upon the destruction of another flag.
Yeah.
A germ of an interesting take there. So.
I call it destruction of flag, right?
Yeah.
Ferro.
Sorry, I was muted.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a flag on fire, isn't it? So, you know what? I appreciate the bit art. Again, if this is done in paint, I tip my cap at you, sir.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you can kind of see there's a little artifact there. Little bits of yeah. Somebody labored over this. Okay. All right. That last entry was by Pinky Up. Now, Silver Surfer, Royal British America. The year is 1861. Almost 100 years have passed since the American terrorists attempted a coup d'etat of the royal possessions in America. Since then, increasing taxation and reprisals have only made sympathizers of the terrorists clearer in their resolve, and the revolutionary spirit has only become more developed since the troubles of the previous century. The lieutenant governor of the Carolinas has been taken hostage by terrorists, demanding an abolition on tariffs from the royal possessions to the crown on all goods, and for a new American parliament to be created for the people of the Americas. Terrorist activity in the past few years in the Royal American possessions has only increased, and demands for independence from neighboring possessions is increasingly likely. The Crown has viewed the Royal American possession with increasing economic importance in the past few decades, and it is anyone's guess as to who will win the upcoming Civil War. By the way, the independence faction wins the Civil War, and the new capital of Ottawa is decided upon by the former terrorists.
Oh,
So
this is the
the
worst
flag.
timeline.
This is the flag of Royal British America. So I think he's saying that this is the flag of America under the British, still under the British, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like a combined
as it should be.
Americas
However,
Americas and Canada or something. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We got to chat about what you've done to my beautiful British flag there, and you just short and fat. You've made him horrible.
Right. Right.
It's like every other Brit, short and fat.
So squared it off, and then with the white and red. Okay. Any comments, D, on this one?
Yeah, I know. I'm with Ferro. I mean, it's certainly absent the inclusion of Canada. I think it's the best timeline that could have happened. But yeah, problems with the flag. I mean, just again, I'm not getting, because there is a whole thing in heraldry with, as we talked about, the kind of penetrations and dissections and such of other clans and other people's devices, in form to form a new flag after marriages and things, annexations and such. But I think there's not enough suggestion of that here. I think it could be stronger.
Right. Okay. Okay. This is from Tender Cringe Stalker. I think we know who we're talking about. Our old friend. New Rhodesia.
The New Yorker.
Say it again, Madmer.
The D said what?
Oh,
the New Yorker.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You know who we mean. NIEUW Rhodesia. New Rhodesia is a colony on Venus, one of several early stakeholders for the Venus terraforming mission. A lot of science fiction writers. Okay. Following breakthroughs in genetics, the Gillfeather Company began designing new species of sulfur-resistant microbes to terraform Venus. As the atmosphere cleared up and the land became available, one of the first groups to head over was a batch of some 10,000 Rhodesians looking to form a sovereign state. Venus's colonies are plentiful of peoples looking to invent their own sovereignties, but the new Rhodesians have had a strong tradition, covenant military tradition, and among the Venus colonies make up a bulwark of planetary defenses. The new Rhodesians settled along the savanna and lakes of the equatorial regions and maintained good relations with several dissident Slavic and Chinese colonies across those lakes. The savannas which they manage and caretake are in the process of developing thick jungles, and the Venetian Parliament has a goal to cut Venus in jungles to make any earthly oppressions in the future near impossible. The capital of New Rhodesia is Smithton, named after the last prime minister of Old Rhodesia on Earth. Though a small covenant city of some 3,000 people today, the growth of the capital continues at a very strong pace. New Rhodesia is now some 40 years old as a colony, has begun to develop its own characteristics. Its flag is a hallmark to the old knightly features of the original flag, with a terraforming Venus in the background and the old "make it be worthy of the name" Latin. The gradient is part of the broader unreplicable goals of flags for the Venetians in general. As stakeholders of the original Venus mission, New Rhodesia has strong say in the specialties it chose, namely engineering and mining. Huh. This is quite different looking.
I gotta be honest with you. This is an excellent flag. I'm utterly galled to say this because it is Cringe, who is the designer.
Yes.
He's already got one of the biggest egos in the community. But it's innovative. It looks great. I love the gradient work. Can you see how he's just added in lots of little gradients between the kind of yellow and the green in the background?
Right.
You've got this kind of like futurist fire thing. Cringe, if you're in chat, can you tell me, was all of this kind of central orb thing your original design, or was it taken from something else? If this is an original design, I would actually say this is actually an exceptionally well done flag. If he's lifted that little motif in the center from somewhere else, it will score less highly. But this is a big like from me.
Well, my feelings about Cringe Walker aside, I completely disagree. I don't like this at all. Well, it's because it's a logo. It's not really a flag. I hate gradients. I hate the gradient. I think one of the worst things ever to happen to graphic design and design in general was the advent of Photoshop, because everything then suddenly started to get gradients and drop shadows. Everything. And I just, it's a clever kind of logo, certainly in the center of that kind of constructivist, almost, sort of quasi-cubist thing, whatever it is. I viewed it as a man in a helm, but
he's put in the chat. It is original, and that it's an abstract of armor, the helmet. So you have the little eye.
Okay, so it is a helm. Yeah. So, yeah. And it's very nice, and I like it as a logo for something. I'm not enamored of the colors. They're a bit odd. The green and yellow with the blue in the central part. But the central part is a very strong logo for something. But I think it could be worked up into a flag. But in this form, to me it just doesn't read as a flag. And maybe perhaps I'm being too traditionalist, but I'm thinking of the limitations of a flag in terms of its manufacture, in terms of its use, and it just presents some troubles for me. So a nice logo, but not a flag for me.
Seems like a science fiction futurist flag, right, D? If it were to be a flag, it's.
So maybe it goes on with the backstory, and the fact that it's of course an interplanetary thing and such. But I don't want to knock it because it's a good effort, but I would like to see it. I'd like to see it sort of flagified.
Flagified. Is that an official heraldic terminology there?
No, it's an official John D at 2:00 in the morning terminology.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I am going to try to get our guest judges out of here soon. So I wanted to throw in one super chat because I wasn't going to have you guys stay for all the comments. But Jacob says, what?
There's another flag as well. I think we've missed.
Oh, I know. I'm not done. I just wanted to throw this in.
Oh, sorry.
Jacob says, rarely does one get an opportunity to correct the greatest co-host ever on artistic matters. But Mr. D, Alzey, Geneva, and Anhalt have or had their heraldic animals split. Merry Christmas all. So there you go.
Very interesting. As I say, I've forgotten most of it, and certainly I was never big on the history of flags. I would have to pull up flags to even remember most of the current flags, but I will look into that. That's very interesting to know that, because I as far as I remembered, you would almost never split a heraldic animal like that. But
there you go. Okay,
now,
so this is the
gentlemen,
final one. It looks like it's from today, but it's not. He had accidentally posted it in a way that was doxing, so he reposted it. He actually had submitted it before the deadline, so that's why we're allowing this. And then this is our final entry. Go ahead, Medmer.
There's actually one more entry that was from today, and now out of respect for the effort that this person has put into the flag, I think we should review it. However, I will have to make clear this flag is not in the running to win.
Okay, the very last one
you
in
have
there.
submitted after. Yeah, you have submitted after the date you were given a year to submit. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at it real quick. Okay, last two then, and then this is the last one considered as an entry. I submit a heraldic banner I made for my soon-to-be-finished summer house on the shore of Windling Lake in my home province, to be flown when I am present, as is proper. The main device is my personal coat of arms, the lion on a field of, help me now, Fascines, fascines.
Shinies.
These are,
Yeah.
like the
Oops.
fascies. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
right.
The
Okay.
the proper faggots. Yeah.
Yep. Bundle of sticks. Yes. Okay. Lion on a field of fascines. The three Arctic star flowers symbolize the unspoiled nature of property itself as they grow there in abundance. The three fields represent the heraldry of the location: nation, province, municipality, and the bisecting golden line, the law that separates the sovereign individual from the state and the duties that they hold to each other. The five golden oaks on the rim represent prosperity from long term planning and careful investment for the future. The snacks are cultural decorations. As for the main device, the golden lion on a summer sky is a symbol that has been flown by various roots of my family line since the 11th century, and the fascinis allude to my descent from the House of Wasa and its first king, the Royal House of Sweden, 1523 to 1818. The fascinis depicted are not the sort used by Roman lictors, but the ones used to cross moats in siege warfare, and they are in Swedish heraldic tradition often depicted as sheaves of barley, to include the symbolism of both peacetime prosperity and martial prowess. Okay, lots of background for a flag that is full of symbols. Overall, Ferro.
Again, I really like this one. I think it's very powerful. A lot of thought put into the design. He's gone back to the history, and I really appreciate that it's his history as well. You've got the kind of triple crown of Sweden, which I really like. So again, you can instantly tell which country it's from.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm scraping the barrel here with the criticisms, but you can see that the lion has been taken from like a woodcut or an etching or something like that, and I'm not sure whether that design would transfer well to like an embroidered or a woven flag, because the lines are too thin. So I think you would need to simplify, like if you were to actually make it. It's not going to work, but I really like this one. I think it's very beautiful. So good job.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in and say that this isn't a flag proper. This is a heraldic banner, and this is in perfectly keeping with that tradition. I mean, this was very common. Now, whether that satisfies the criterion of the competition, I don't know, because it is a very personal thing. But I mean, as far as sticking to the tradition of what these sorts of pieces of heraldry would do, this is this is right up there as being quite a strong one. I mean, again, I have quite a lot of respect for people who kind of are working within that tradition. So yes, this is not the same as a kind of national flag. This is a personal heraldic banner, and it works very well in those terms.
I
I
would
think
say
we'll
it's still
allow
a
it. I
flag.
think we'll allow it, Mad Merc. Right? It's a great entry, and it seems
It
very
is a
much in the
great
spirit
entry.
of the contest.
I
I can defend why
am
it would be a flag.
okay.
If you especially some of the more famous ones like the flag of the Republic of Venice, they look very similar to this. They have a lot of very. It does not look like a modern flag, and it's quite famous for having its sort of embroidered border that it that often accompanies the flag, and it looks very similar to this, using a lot of old heraldry in making it. Obviously, not a one-to-one replication here, but it's in the same. I would certainly say probably in the same type or category of flag.
Hmm.
So still a flag by my
I
books.
will make the final decision, and I will say it is allowed.
All right. Okay, one last thing. That was an excellent entry, Leo. This is outside of the contest, but just real quick. The mountain of earth and the expanse of heaven are mediated by Christ. The cross, when the flag is flown, represents the sword each man must wield to ensure true freedom and justice are maintained. This kingly role is shown through the royal colors echoed in heaven, the domain of his king, and earth, the place of his own rule. And this is from I am Athanasius.
Yeah, I really like this. I think this is when we're talking about graphic, refining things down, keeping the symbology. You know, you've got the sword / cross. I thought that's a clever impression of it. You've got the kind of things at the top and the bottom which look They could be mountains. Yeah, it's the mountain of earth, the
Mhm.
expanse of heaven, but it also looks a bit like wings as well, in
Mhm.
abstract from the side. So yeah, I think it's a really cool bit of graphic work. Just a shame that you heard about it only now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that depresses me because like I really love this flag here.
It,
Really?
it,
Okay.
it is a very nice flag. However, I'd like to point something out. Arad, if you just exit out the flag on Discord, have a look at the man's avatar.
Oh, it's the other way around.
He's flipped it 90 degrees.
Well, that's fine.
To be
It's
fair to
his
him, though, I
design,
think he
so-
made it originally. If I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
enough.
Right. D, any comments on that before we wrap this up?
No, I mean it's it's quite well done and quite simple. I mean certainly a very nice arrangement. And obviously you could elaborate this in in multiple ways and still have it be quite strong. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, tricky to how to do this, especially because I realize, thinking towards the future, if we're going to keep doing these annual contests, we're probably going to have to figure out how to have the final judging not be a slog. Like do some initial
You
cutting.
need to have
Or,
some quarterfinal rounds.
yeah,
with,
right. Something like that, so that when
yeah.
we bring our guest judges on, we're kind of down to something that's more manageable. But anyway, note for the future, lesson learned. Okay, so how to handle this last part. I'm thinking that why don't we start by each of our guest judges picking one that we think should be in the running, or maybe two. Could you pick two flags each, if you can remember back through everything we've looked at, and just nominate, throw them into our final round? And then maybe Ryan and Madmer, could you be thinking about one from each of you?
Sure.
So
Sure.
Ferro, putting you on the spot, Ferro. Can you
Well,
give us
can I
two
go
that-
last? Because it depends what other people choose.
Oh.
D,
Well,
do you
it's
want to
difficult
go
because
for it?
I thought we were going to sort of like it's gonna be hard for me to pick two.
I have one that I want to pick.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
well,
well, get us started.
I'll pick my two since
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So I think that I'm scrolling through and looking at them again very quickly.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to nominate the heraldic banner that we just looked at,
Leo Borealis, right? Entry.
Leo
Okay.
Borealis, and then I'm also going to nominate the lyre and pick and sword with the eye.
The circle one. The circle
the
one.
circle,
Yes.
the circle one.
The circle. Okay, yeah. So that is Pip Gang's second entry.
Yeah.
Second entry. Okay, great. Ryan, do you have a different one that you wanted to bring in?
The one that I was going to pick was the Nova Anglia, the one where it had the blue and yellow with the diagonal line, and and for the charge in the middle, it was the silhouette of the white dragon, submitted by I can't pronounce Latin names for the life of me. Yeah, that's it.
Ludovicus. Yeah.
Yes.
Ludovicus. Here we go with the beta as a crown, right?
Yes.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
I quite like that one.
Ludovicus. Okay. Mad Merc, can you throw one in that we haven't named yet?
I'm only allowed one, am I?
Well, yeah. Let's start with one. I don't want to spend too much time whittling it down. So.
I want to do the alternative history one about Poland. That the yellow, red, and blue one with the blue shield and the eagle in the center, and the two towers on either side.
Who's the user?
From
Sebrin.
Sebrin, yeah.
Sebrin.
I'd like to. I think
way
that's a
back
nice
here,
one.
right? Oh no! Sorry, went too far. Okay, give me a sec. Poland. Okay, sorry. No, not that one. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. Just spell his name, his username.
Sebryn.
R-Y, S-E-B-R-Y-N. Great. Okay, well, it was Poland, right?
Yeah, it was
talked
the
about Poland.
Polish city-state one where they broke away from Poland.
Sorry, I can't figure out how to use Discord search in an efficient manner.
No, all good.
Okay, help me find it, guys. It wasn't near the end.
It's no,
It's right
it's
next
at
to it's next to the Wyvern one that you just had.
yeah,
The Wyvern,
one below
okay.
the Wyvern.
Below the Wyvern.
Just below
okay.
it.
Sorry. Inefficient organization.
It looks, it's yellow, red, and blue. It's got the eagle in the center.
Ferro, have you chosen yours yet?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Oh, this one with the, okay. Oh, yeah. The real simple one. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Okay, Ferro.
I will go for cringe. I know that D doesn't like it, but I like it. So T-Bag.
No, I think it deserves nominated. Yeah.
Just for the emblem in the center, and then I do think I know that he spent 2 seconds doing it. Oh, I'm really torn. I'm torn between Landers and the Free Imperial City of Roostadt, the eagle slash.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, I think Lander gets enough attention as is, so we're going to go with the other guy.
Yes.
Wow, scientific process
Hey,
here.
he's also,
So,
he's griping the chat at the moment as well.
what is the other guy?
You know what it was the sarcastic sentence at the end. The childish manner that he's approached this competition has knocked himself out from the final.
Ooh.
Free Imperial City. Okay. So this is with the bisected thing, right? Am I getting the right one?
The
Fair.
one with the double eagle with its halved out.
The green and white one.
And the green and white.
Peeking
I've got
around the chevron curtain, yeah.
Right. Okay. So good. We've got 6 entries.
You haven't chosen one, Red Lib.
I'm too distracted running things. I'm happy for you guys. You were listed as the judges. I wasn't. Okay. So we've got 6 entries, and we want to give out 3 prizes. So how do we do this? I guess a vote from the judges or something. Yeah, Mad Merc helped me figure out. We sorted this out last year and came up with a final 3.
Right. So last year we got it. We go through each one, and we discuss whether they should be in the top 3, and then we whittled it down from the top 6 to the top 3, and then from the top 3 we whittle it down as to who's first, second, and third.
Okay. So let's go from 6 to 3. Yeah, but how do we decide who's in the top 3? Have everybody vote whether they would support it being in the top 3? Oh, okay,
Yes,
good.
whether they would support moving it to the top 3.
Oh, and each person only should vote 3 times, right? That's the point. So you've got to think about how you use your votes. Okay, so I'm on the Free Imperial City of Ruhestadt. Let me blow that one up. That's the bisected.
Turn up. I believe you have a pen
Eagle.
and pencil there, so maybe you would like to keep track of votes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you remember.
And I'm sorry, I should have noted, this is the entry by Rye. Okay, so I'm on the Free Imperial City, so we've got the bisected.
I quite like the presentation, but I'm not going to vote.
Okay, Ryan.
5 votes.
Okay, and
Ooh, no, I will not.
okay, then let's move on to the next one I can find.
Sorry,
okay.
how many votes do we have? Sorry, I missed that. again.
You
We
get 3 votes because you're just voting into the top 3. So you're voting 3 of these flags you want into the top 3. Okay, Pip Gang has the circular one with the sword and the lyre and everything. So who wants to get that in the top 3?
No, because I don't think it's a flag.
Okay, well, That is an issue. Okay, so no one voted for that one. Let's keep going. Where's that? Okay, now we have our Tender Cringe Stalker was nominated.
I'll throw my vote in. Another vote.
I'll throw my vote in as well. Yes.
Okay, Mad Mark. Anyone else on the Tender Cringe Stalker one? Okay. Anyone else?
I vote for that as well.
Okay. Anyone else?
This is the heraldic one that was for that man, wasn't it?
This is yeah, with the lion and the, what do you call the jagged edge? D. I mean that is done, right?
Pennon.
The pennant style.
Pennon or pennant. Yeah.
Right,
By the way,
and the triple crown of
there's
Sweden in
apparently
it.
major problems with the stream. I don't know if that.
Oh,
Yeah, stream's buffering.
Okay, it's probably because I'm moving around a lot in this. The fascinas are in there as well. Anyone else vote for that?
So I have 2 votes for that. Is that correct? D and Merc.
For the
Leo Borealis
The
is
heraldic
that-
banner. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
okay. There's only one left. Have people been using their votes? Okay, wait. Oh no, there's 2 left. Sorry. There's 2 left. Okay. I just have to find them. Okay, so I need Ludovicus and Sebron. Give me just a sec. Just scrolling quickly.
The chat is saying they smell fortification.
Yeah, when the stream comes back, there's going to be 81 million votes for cringe.
Right.
Most-
81 million votes for the Space Beaver.
Yeah.
After
most-
No, the Chad flag without the explanation.
Yeah, it's just
the Amiga.
Okay, so now this is the Sebron flag. This has got the 2 towers, yellow, red, and blue stripes, the eagle in the center on the shield. Remember that one? Anyone votes for that for the final 3?
Sorry. Say again. You're cutting out.
The 2 towers on the sides, the eagle in the center, on a shield.
Oh, yes. I vote for that.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, and then finally, that's the Sebron. The Ludovicus. This is with the wyvern and the beta crown above his head.
So y'all vote for that one?
Okay.
Yes,
I'll
yeah,
vote.
that's my last
I'll
vote.
vote for that one as well. Yeah.
D. Ferro. Okay, so did everybody use their votes?
I did.
Hopefully Ryan's keeping
I
track.
did.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody used their
I
3
just
votes.
kept
Okay.
track of the votes that have been placed under each flag. So, we have 4 because 2 of them have tied. Do we want to do a tiebreaker round real quick to get?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Is
yeah.
it-
So our
So
top
Fringe
2
Walker's
are
flag?
clearly, well, Ludovicus and Pip Gang got 3 votes, so they're in for sure. But then Leo
Yes.
Borealis and Cringe Stalker.
Both
Everybody,
got 2 votes.
right? Everybody gets a vote. Oh, well, yeah.
Which
Well,
one is?
let's do that. Everybody vote for which one should be in there.
I'll switch my vote to Leo. Sorry, Cringe.
Leo.
Woo!
Switch it from Cringe Stalker. Oh, I see. So that puts Leo in.
Just
Okay,
Just so
good.
Cringe Walker has no votes, I also switch my vote.
Oh, no, come on. Okay.
Wow.
Okay,
Alright,
so
I'm
now
switching
we
my
need.
vote to Cringe Walker because I.
Okay, I have now erased 3 markings for that.
No.
Okay, anyway.
It was quite
Okay.
very good effort, that one. Cringe.
Yes, so good. We're down to
That was worthy.
the Ludovicus with the wyvern. Pip Gang, boy, I should have put descriptions on these. Need to be able to talk about them quickly. The Leo Borealis has the
Heraldry.
Yeah, the heraldry pennant. And then the Pip Gang. Which one is that now? Say something about. No, that was Ludovicus, right? Yeah, I'm looking at the Ludovicus. That's got the wyvern. The Pip
Pip
Gang.
Gang had the circle that
The
Mad Mark
circle.
said was not a flag.
Yeah.
Oh, the circle. Yeah, the circle one. Okay.
The hand
All right.
drawn one.
Okay, good. So, heraldry pennant, the circle, the wyvern. We gotta sort these into 1, 2, and 3. How do we do this, Madmer? Let's see. So,
Just
Go ahead.
Two votes again. Everyone does 2 votes, surely, and then it's.
oh, I see what you're
you
saying.
Just rank it in that
Okay,
order.
I'm gonna erase the votes I have on here, and we'll start over. Okay, you've got to vote for your top 2, and we'll see if that sorts it out. So, who votes for Leo Borealis as one of their top 2 out of these 3?
I will.
Just before we vote, I'd like
Yeah.
for the judges and the audience to understand what is at stake here. So,
Right.
first, second, and third all get prizes. So, if you've
Mhm.
made it to this point, congratulations, you do get a prize.
Yep.
Third place gets 1 silver coin. Second place gets 2 silver coins, and first place gets 3 silver coins.
Yes. Oh, and I
So,
should mention that one of
it-
our silver coins was provided by Charlemagne when we met up at the Mises Institute. He handed that, looking forward to supporting this contest. So I thought that was really cool. Anyway, yes, thank you, Mad Merc.
Correct. So just so everyone is clear as to what is at stake.
Yep. Okay, so first, second, third, just putting in place so I don't forget to do that. Okay, so any more votes for Leo? Using up one of your 2 votes.
Leo, sorry.
This
Leo
is the
Borealis,
heraldry.
And
The
how many
her-
votes?
The heraldry
I
pennant.
gave him one of my votes, so he has
Yep.
1 right now.
Right.
And
Anyone
we-
else?
Each of us only has 1 vote.
2.
No, each of you has
Oh,
2.
we each have 2.
Right. So anyone want to?
I will give one of my votes.
Okay, got it. All right. Then, well, it makes it easy then, right? Our guest judges
I
are
give my
clearly,
votes to the other 2. Yeah.
yeah, the other 2. So that's D, Ferro, and D, Ferro. And so Ryan and Mad Merc. Pip Gang or Wyvern with
Ooh.
your second vote?
Wyvern. Most
So
definitely.
you go for the Wyvern. Ryan? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Mad Merc on Wyvern. Which
I
one for
think
you?
I think I'll be voting for the Nova Anglia one, right? As Wyvern.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll vote for
Okay.
that one.
Yeah, Nova Anglia. Okay, good. That sorts it out pretty nicely. Because now we have a winner, which is Ludovicus's Nova Anglia Wyvern. And now we just need to decide who gets second and third between the heraldry pennant and the circle flag thing. So I guess 1 vote each, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
we
I
should-
vote for the I vote for the circle for the.
the circle.
I
Okay.
vote for the Herald.
Okay. Ryan?
I love the effort that went into the circle one, but it's not a flag, so I'm going to have to go with the heraldry.
His autism wouldn't let him
And-
vote for it. Mad Merc?
And because it's not a flag, therefore I vote for the heraldry.
Okay. Okay, so let me write this down.
If we did,
Congratulations.
If we
Ludovic.
did an emblem flag or an emblem competition or something like that, then like that would be perfect.
It would.
Hey,
It
just
would.
put it on a square and it would. It may not be a flag, but you are a. No.
Right.
I'm a square.
Okay, I'm just going to read this out to make sure this is lining up with what our understanding is. First prize is Ludovicus. He got support from everybody, so he gets our first prize. Second prize is Leo Borealis, who in the final round got 3 Ferro, Ryan, and Mad Merc supporting him. And then Pip Gang with the circle comes in as our third prize. Sound all fair and square?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Again, apologies, guest judges. Really late for you guys, and I should have managed this in terms of your time. So thank you so much. Please feel free to say goodbye, and I'm just going to hit some super chats with the young guys.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Ferro.
Good night. Thanks very much. Good night.
Thanks, Mr. D.
Bye, everybody.
Stay
Okay, so let's see. I want to switch to 2 guests, which should work, I think. Yep, looks good. And then let's look. Chris Primer. It says, can't stay, but hello. Chris Primer's super chat. Thank you. I like to read them when they're on the screen when I can. Okay, now I just need to open my super chat stuff. Give me just a moment. I don't think I had those ready. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to hit Subscribe Star first. Yeah, for some reason oh no, I did have them ready. Here they are. Okay, great. So we have 2 on from our Subscribe Star supporters who not only give monthly, but then sometimes take the opportunity to give tips, of which we get more of the money when they do it this way. Antburger says, much love to you and your family and the community here. Keep up the good work. God bless and Merry Christmas, and a very generous tip from Antburger. Thank you. And another very generous tip from Sam153, a big tipper. Enjoying the flags. Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir. Okay, and then let me refresh here. And let's see the super chats. All right, so Vexillology. Okay, we have quite a few. Okay. 55 kroners or something? I don't know how much this is. The Norwegian, from Gunnar. The Norwegian royal symbol used to be depicted realistically back when the heraldic description was controlling. The modern standard is more stylized. Okay.
Ah.
Interesting.
Oh,
Jedi
yeah.
Knight Anakin Cringewalker says he was a good boy. I don't know what he was talking about. We were talking about at the time. Again, another one from Lambda, very generous tip. He says ahem. I don't know what he was talking about. I tried to bring it up when he did it so we could have more context, and I didn't even understand it then.
We didn't have the context then, was the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jacob is the one I already read about there being heraldic animals being split. Thank you, Jacob. Cool information. And again, those country flags were Alzey, Geneva, and Anhalt, or region flags.
Ah,
whatever
yes. Right. Okay.
they were. Oh, you're actually picturing one of these?
Yeah, Anhalt. Yeah,
Okay.
I forgot they use a split. Good find.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to ask Ferro how in the world he knew about like every flag in the world. But anyway, Red
If you
Hawk.
could-
Last
if
one
we
to
just
read.
Yeah. Go on.
Last one to read. Red Hawk says, surely there's a market for the burning pride flag. Yeah, really. If we're going to commercialize
Surely.
here, that's the one to license, right? To start selling merch.
We'll put it on Spreadshirt as one of our products.
Okay, and that is it. Thanks, guys. Wow, kind of a slog this time. Got to manage it better in the future, but man, so interesting.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Very
well,
much so.
part of the fun of this last, the judging part, is that we get to learn from these guys who know about design and heraldry and colors, color theory, and all this stuff, which is not my area. And so I just find it intellectually really interesting when we're going through the judging of the contest at the end of the year. And of course, we have very interesting artistic friends. We're blessed in that way in our circles. Okay, so Merry Christmas. Have a good New Year. We will see you next year with, let's see, I guess the very next thing we're thinking, am I thinking about this right? Yeah. The very next thing would be, Ryan, the series where we're going to bring in Black Horse. Yeah, bring in Black Horse and discuss the economic meltdown from 12 years ago. Yes, and you got Woods' Meltdown.
Yay!
Excellent.
So
you've got your Christmas
ready.
vacation reading. You've got your vacation reading to do.
Yep.
And I need to grab my copy and go back through it, scan through it again, and refresh my memory to get my head in the game. But yeah, Meltdown by Woods, if you get a chance, Mad Merc, would be a great way to get briefed on this before we dive. It's gonna be very deep. I mean, Tom Wood's book is not shallow, but I would say we're gonna be doing a deep dive, Ryan, right?
Yes, yeah. We have a very, very knowledgeable guest that we are going to be bringing on that will thankfully guide us through all this, just because so much stuff happened. With modern events, you just have, just because we record all of it and there are more people around, there are more factors at play, you just get mountains and mountains of events that happen in the span of one night, let alone a few years. This meltdown is no exception. We have someone that knows their way around it, thankfully, and we have you, Radlib, who went through it
Right.
just as a spectator, and then Merc and I can review it through a more historical mindset rather than a I
Right.
lived through this sort of
Something that
event.
happened when you were children.
Yeah, 5 years old.
Oh wow. Wow, really? Man, time flies. You were
2008.
5?
I was born in 2003.
Oh
I would
wow.
have been 8 turning 9.
Yeah, so you were just starting to get mad at the Fed around that time, right, Madmer?
I was a good little right winger, but I was still in the firm grip of the liberal order of democracy and belief and all that
Got it.
nonsense.
Okay, well, thanks to everybody. Thanks to Mad Merc and Ryan, who have been co-hosts. Between the two of them, have basically been the co-hosts through the whole run of this show. It's been a great year, like I said, not in world events, which have been a bummer, I think it's fair to say. But it's been a great year for me personally and for the show, and just making a lot of new, interesting friends, courtesy, of course, of Academic Agent, who seems to dig out interesting people from various corners. And so it's been good in that sense. So I end the year personally happy, troubled by events, but personally feeling like life is actually pretty good, and maybe I'll even get to hold on to my job. Who knows? We'll see with the way things are going.
Yes.
Joyful
Okay.
all ye nations rise. Yes.
Yes, and definitely Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Just before we go, sorry, I
Yep.
know that was a very good send off, but just before we
Yep.
go, 2 things. A, there is the link to the Discord in the description, and I will be, and I hope Turnip will be, at least chatting with some of the gaps afterwards. And B, I think I should tell people that again, next year is going to be very similar as to what happened this year in the second half. I will not be able to attend most of the year. I will try to attend as best I can, but
Right.
it will be a difficult year for me coming in. So
Yep. We'll have you.
if
We'll
I
have
don't
you
get
part
another
of part of
opportunity-
January. It's looking like, right?
yes,
All right.
that's it.
Great.
So if I'm not able to come back after January, I just wanted to tell everyone thank you and Merry Christmas.
All right. Okay. Off we go.